You might be surprised by what I'm about to share, but I need you to pause, stay still, silent, and fully focused on what's coming your way. This is not just another message. This is a divine appointment. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. You are here because God is about to reveal something profound to you. This message is not for everyone. It's for the chosen ones, those whom God has set apart for His divine purpose. If you are not ready to hear this truth, if your heart is not open to the stirring of the Spirit, feel free to click away now. But if something inside you stirs, if your soul leans in, then this message is for you. Chosen ones, let me ask you, have you ever felt like you were in the fight of your life? Not a physical fight, but a spiritual one? A battle so fierce that it left you exhausted in your soul? Have you ever stood in the middle of your past and your future, unsure of what God is doing but knowing you can't stay where you are? If this resonates with you, then listen closely. This is not just a story. This is your story. This is God speaking to you through the life of Jacob, a man who wrestled with God and emerged transformed. His struggle mirrors our own, and within his story lies the key to your breakthrough. Jacob's journey toward transformation did not begin with his famous wrestling match at Peniel. It started much earlier, with a deliberate season of isolation. In Genesis 32, we read that Jacob sent his family, servants, and all his possessions across the Jabbok River, leaving himself completely alone. Alone, exposed, vulnerable. This was not by accident, it was intentional. Why would God allow Jacob, or any of us, to experience such profound solitude? Because there are moments when the overwhelming noise and busyness of life drown out God's voice. In isolation, God removes distractions, stripping away the comforts and securities we often cling to, forcing us to face our true selves. It's in these moments that we must confront who we have been and who God is calling us to become. Jacob was no stranger to struggle. His battle began long before that night by the river. Even in his mother's womb, Jacob wrestled with his twin brother Esau. His very name, Jacob, means heel grabber or supplanter, reflecting his lifelong pattern of striving, manipulating, and deceiving to get ahead. From taking Esau's birthright to deceiving his father for the blessing, Jacob's story was marked by self-reliance and struggle. But now, Jacob was facing a battle he could not win through deceit or strength. The looming reunion with Esau, the brother he had wronged, left Jacob filled with fear and uncertainty. No more schemes, no more running. In this place of isolation, Jacob had to wrestle not only with God, but with his own identity. God often brings us into seasons of isolation, not to harm us, but to prepare us for transformation. In the silence, we hear his voice more clearly. In the solitude, he begins to reshape us for his divine purpose. On the eve of meeting Esau, the brother he had deceived, Jacob found himself utterly alone. And in that solitude, God met him in a form he didn't expect. Genesis 32:24-26 says, "So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that his hip was wrenched. Then the man said, 'Let me go, for it is daybreak.' But Jacob replied, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.'" Imagine the scene. Jacob is exhausted, crippled by pain, yet he clings with every fiber of his being. This wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Jacob wasn't fighting a man, he was wrestling with God himself, and Jacob refused to let go. This is a declaration of faith. Jacob was saying, "I've struggled all my life, but I will not miss this moment. I will fight until you bless me." How often do we surrender just moments before our breakthrough arrives? How many times have we stopped praying, stopped believing, or walked away because the struggle felt too heavy or the waiting seemed endless? In our human weakness, it's easy to grow weary when the answers don't come quickly or when the battle feels too intense. Yet Jacob's story reminds us that it's often in the darkest, most painful moments that we are closest to God's greatest blessings. How many blessings have we missed because we gave up too soon? The night may feel long, but the dawn is coming. Like Jacob, we must hold on through the pain, through the silence, and through the doubt. God honors those who persevere. Don't let go now. Your breakthrough might be closer than you think. Then came the pivotal moment in Jacob's life, a moment that would forever alter his identity and purpose. In the midst of his intense all-night struggle, the man wrestling with Jacob, revealed to be God, asked him a seemingly simple question. What is your name? At first glance, this might appear to be an ordinary inquiry, but in biblical times, a name was deeply significant. A name was more than a way to identify someone. It embodied a person's character, reputation, and destiny. By asking Jacob this question, God was doing more than requesting information. He was inviting Jacob to confront the truth about who he was. When Jacob answered, "I am Jacob," it was a confession. He wasn't just stating his name. He was acknowledging his identity as a deceiver and a trickster. His name, Jacob, literally means heel grabber or supplanter, reflecting his lifelong pattern of manipulation and striving to get ahead at any cost. From deceiving his brother Esau to tricking his father Isaac, Jacob's life had been marked by selfish ambition and deceit. But God wasn't interested in punishing Jacob for his past. He was preparing to transform him. In response, God declared, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." This was more than a new name. It was a new identity. The name Israel means God prevails. In that single moment, God redefined Jacob's entire existence. No longer would he be known as the deceiver. Now he was recognized as someone who had wrestled with God and emerged victorious. Jacob's struggle wasn't about defeat, it was about transformation. God wasn't interested in blessing the man Jacob had been. He wanted to transform Jacob into the man he had destined him to be. In the same way, God desires to transform us. He doesn't define us by our failures or our past mistakes. Instead, he uses our struggles to strip away the false labels we've accepted and to reveal our true identity in him. God allows us to wrestle, not to defeat us, but to redefine us. He takes our brokenness, our failures, and our insecurities and gives us a new name, a new identity, and a new purpose. Just as he did with Jacob, God wants to turn your struggle into strength and your pain into purpose. After Jacob's intense struggle with God, he walked away with a limp, a physical mark that he would carry for the rest of his life. To outsiders, this limp may have seemed like a sign of weakness or defeat, but to Jacob, it was far more than that. It was a sacred reminder. I encountered God, and I am forever changed. His limp was not a wound of failure, but a testimony of transformation. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, God says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This verse reveals a profound truth. God often allows weakness, pain, and brokenness to remain, not to shame us, but to display his strength in our lives. The very areas where we feel the most fragile or scarred are often the places where God's presence has been most powerful. Your limp, your scars, your disappointments, your struggles, is not a sign that God has abandoned you. Instead, it is evidence that you have been in his presence. God does not waste pain. In the breaking, there is blessing. In the struggle, there is transformation. I once knew a woman who was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Doctors told her that the chances of survival were incredibly slim and advised her to prepare for the worst. The treatments were harsh, and the pain was unbearable. Many in her position would have given up hope, but Sarah chose a different path. Instead of surrendering to fear, she clung tightly to God's promises. Every day, through tears and weakness, she prayed, "Lord, I won't let go until you heal me. I believe you are greater than this disease." Her family and friends surrounded her with prayer and support. Months turned into years of relentless faith, prayer, and treatment. Miraculously, against all odds, the cancer began to shrink and eventually disappeared. Doctors were astonished, calling it an unexplainable recovery. But she knew it was God's healing hand at work. What if she had given up? What if Jacob had let go during his struggle? Chosen one, don't be discouraged by your struggles. Your breakthrough may be just beyond the pain you're enduring right now. Hold on. Keep wrestling. God is working through your weakness to bring about your victory. Many of you are in a season of wrestling with God right now. Maybe it's a battle in your finances where no matter how hard you work, it feels like you can't get ahead. Perhaps it's in your relationships, broken friendships, strained family ties, or a marriage that feels like it's falling apart. Maybe it's your health, where each doctor's report brings more fear than hope. Or perhaps it's your faith itself, where God feels distant and prayers seem to go unanswered. You feel exhausted. You feel like giving up. But I'm here to tell you, don't let go. God is not punishing you. He's not distant or silent to harm you. He allows the struggle because He's preparing you for what's coming. The pain, the waiting, the uncertainty, it's all part of a greater process. Just as Jacob's wrestling match wasn't about defeat but about transformation, your struggle has a divine purpose. God is using this season to refine your faith, to strip away false identities, and to strengthen you for the blessings He has in store. If Jacob had let go during the struggle, he would have missed his transformation from Jacob the deceiver to Israel, the one who overcomes. The same is true for you. Your struggle is not in vain. It is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Hold on. Trust God through the pain. Your blessing is on the other side of this battle. After his intense struggle, Jacob named the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." This was more than a physical location for Jacob. It was a sacred place of transformation, where he encountered God in a deeply personal and life-changing way. Have you encountered God face to face? Have you wrestled with Him not for what He can give, but for who He is? In Jeremiah 29:13, God promises, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." This is not a half-hearted search. It's a relentless pursuit that pushes through pain, doubt, silence, and fear. Are you willing to press in, even when the answers don't come quickly? Are you willing to wrestle with God, not for what He can give, but to know Him more deeply? Jacob's life was never the same after his encounter with God. He walked away changed, both physically and spiritually. The same can be true for you. When you seek God with your whole heart, when you refuse to let go despite the struggle, you will encounter Him in ways that transform you forever. Will you press in? Will you wrestle through the pain, the doubt, the silence, until God moves? Chosen ones, this is your moment. Like Jacob, you are standing at the edge of transformation. Your struggle is not wasted. Your pain is not in vain. Refuse to let go. Wrestle until God blesses you. Allow Him to redefine your identity. Embrace your brokenness, knowing it is the gateway to your destiny. Are you ready to fight for your breakthrough? Are you ready to be transformed? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before You with open hearts. For every person listening, I ask for strength to endure the struggle. Redefine their identity, Lord. Give them the perseverance to hold on until the blessing comes. Let them encounter You face to face. Transform their pain into purpose and their struggle into strength. We trust You, Lord. We refuse to let go. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. If this message has stirred something deep within you, comment below. Thank you, Jesus. Share this message. Let it be a seed that brings hope and transformation to others. Your breakthrough is near. Don't let go. The dawn is coming. There is a power moving in the unseen, a force far greater than any human mind can comprehend. To be chosen by God is not simply a title. It is a divine appointment, a sacred calling that sets you apart. But with that calling comes a battle. A spiritual war rages, often invisible to the naked eye. where the forces of darkness plot and scheme, believing they can bring down God's anointed. They think they are untouchable. They weave webs of lies, deceit, and malice, convinced their plots will bury you. But here's the unshakable truth. You were never fighting alone. The very heavens are aligned in your favor, and those who rise against you unknowingly sign their own spiritual death warrant. Let this be a wake-up call. Messing with a chosen one is not just picking a fight, it is challenging the authority of the Most High. And that is a battle no one can win. God has a way of allowing the wicked to dig their own graves while they try to destroy the righteous. Statistics say that 92% of those who conspire against others eventually face severe consequences, whether through karma, divine justice, or their own downfall. But here's the divine twist. When someone targets a chosen one, those odds jump to 100%. This isn't superstition. It's spiritual law. And today, we are going to uncover exactly why the chosen are untouchable, why the enemies of God's people always fall, and how divine justice unfolds with precise and devastating accuracy. Energy is like a mirror. What people project into the world comes back to them, often magnified. But when someone targets a chosen one, this reflection becomes lethal. Hatred, envy, deceit. These dark energies don't just vanish, they gather momentum, grow in strength, and come crashing back upon the sender, destroying them from within. They think they're aiming at you, but they're only setting themselves up for destruction. God's anointed walk with a spiritual immunity, an invisible armor that not only shields them, but actively returns negativity to its source. This isn't passive protection, it's an active force. The more hatred they send, the stronger the backlash. The trap they set for you becomes the pit they fall into. What they fail to understand is this: their attacks are tainted by their own darkness. The hatred, fear, and brokenness they project only amplify when it returns, tearing their lives apart. Their obsession with harming you becomes their undoing. They're not battling you. They're battling their own demons, amplified by their own intentions. And you walk forward, untouched, while they burn in the very fire they lit. Divine justice is never random. It is precise, intentional, and perfectly executed. God does not act out of impulse or emotion. He moves with strategy and purpose. Every lie told, every betrayal committed, and every malicious scheme crafted against you is met with a response so deliberate and exact that it leaves no room for doubt. It is clearly divine in origin. God sees everything. He is never caught off guard. Long before your enemies begin to plot, God already knows their plans. He watches every hidden move, every whispered lie, and every dark intention. Yet, in His wisdom, God doesn't always stop them immediately. Sometimes He allows them to continue, to become more confident in their wicked ways, believing they are succeeding. Why? Because in their arrogance, they unknowingly build the very structure of their own downfall, brick by brick. The weapons they carefully form to harm you do not vanish. Instead, they are turned against them. Their lies become the trap that ensnares them. Their betrayal isolates them. Their deceit poisons their own relationships. God allows their actions to unfold until the perfect moment arrives, and then He strikes with precision. God's justice is not broad or general. It is deeply personal and perfectly tailored. For some, their punishment comes through the loss of power, status, and influence. For others, it manifests in broken relationships, financial ruin, failing health, or even a loss of mental peace. Whatever they value most becomes the very thing that crumbles. The unraveling is specific, deliberate, and leaves no doubt that their suffering is the result of divine intervention. For the chosen, this is a powerful reminder. You do not need to fight. You don't have to defend yourself, seek revenge, or lower yourself to their level. God's justice operates beyond anything you could do. He fights for you with a force that no human can withstand. Your very existence is a direct threat to darkness. As a chosen one, you carry a powerful spiritual light that naturally disrupts anything built on lies, manipulation, and deceit. Without even trying, your presence exposes the hidden toxicity in others, their insecurities, their false intentions, and their unhealed wounds. You are like an antidote to poison, neutralizing the darkness that others try to spread. This isn't something you asked for. It's not something you can turn off or hide. It's simply who you are. The light within you was placed there by God, and it shines brightly whether you speak or stay silent. That light forces people to confront the darkness within themselves. For some, this confrontation sparks deep reflection and transformation. They recognize their flaws and begin the difficult journey toward healing and growth. But for others, this reflection is unbearable. They are unwilling to face their own brokenness, and instead of changing, they choose to fight against your light. They lash out. They try to dim your glow, attacking you with gossip, lies, jealousy, and hatred. But here's the divine truth. Every attempt to harm you only backfires. Their hatred doesn't weaken you. It magnifies their own inner chaos. The more they try to hurt you, the more they become entangled in their own darkness. They don't realize that their anger and bitterness are consuming them from within. Their energy becomes wasted on a losing battle, while you continue to rise, untouched and unshaken. You don't need to fight back. Your light, your presence, and your purpose are more than enough. And that, for them, is the most unbearable truth of all. When someone becomes obsessed with the chosen one, they unknowingly set themselves on a path of slow and inevitable destruction. Obsession is not just an emotion. It's a toxic poison that seeps into every corner of their mind and soul. It often begins subtly, with small sparks of jealousy and envy. But over time, those sparks ignite into an uncontrollable fire that consumes them from the inside out. Instead of focusing on their own growth, success, and happiness, they become completely consumed by thoughts of your downfall. Every moment they spend plotting against you is a moment stolen from their own progress. They cannot celebrate their own victories because they are too focused on trying to prevent yours. Their days become filled with bitterness, their nights restless with thoughts of how to bring you down. But here's the divine irony. While they waste away in hatred, you continue to rise. God's favor lifts you higher, guiding you forward, untouched and unbothered. No matter how hard they try to harm you, their efforts crumble, and it is their own life that begins to fall apart. Their closest relationships start to suffer. Friends and family grow distant as their toxic obsession pushes people away. Their inner peace shatters, leaving them anxious, restless, and empty. Even their physical health begins to decline under the weight of constant stress and anger. This obsession becomes a self-inflicted wound that never heals. They slowly spiral into a spiritual death, consumed by the very hatred they refuse to release. In the end, their downfall isn't caused by you. It's the result of their own poisoned heart. All because they couldn't let go. They walk with confidence, believing they are the hunters, carefully stalking their prey, setting traps, and weaving lies to bring you down. But what they fail to realize is that God is the true master of the battlefield. While they plot in secrecy, God is already many steps ahead, turning their own schemes into traps designed for their downfall. Every lie they whisper, every deceitful plan they craft, is carefully woven into the very net that God is preparing for them. In His infinite wisdom, God allows their arrogance to grow, letting them believe they are winning, feeding their pride so they become blind to the danger they are walking into. They see their plans unfolding and assume they have gained the upper hand, never realizing that each step forward is another step closer to their own destruction. And then, when the time is right, the trap snaps shut. God's judgment is not rushed. It is patient, deliberate, and perfectly timed. But when it finally comes, it is complete and devastating. Their alliances, once so strong, crumble. The people they relied on for support turn away. Their carefully built plans collapse like sandcastles under a rising tide. The very weapons they formed to destroy you become the tools of their own ruin. They thought they were clever, digging a pit for you to fall into. But in the end, it is they who tumble into the darkness they created. Their downfall is not by accident. It is the result of divine justice. God will not be mocked. Those who plot against his chosen will always fall victim to the traps they set for others. Those who plot against you believe they're simply targeting another person, someone they can manipulate, intimidate, or overpower. But what they fail to realize is that they are stepping into a battle far beyond their understanding. You are surrounded by an invisible shield, not of luck or coincidence, but of divine protection crafted by the hands of God himself. This shield is not fragile, it is unbreakable, forged through spiritual armor that deflects every attack aimed your way. No weapon formed against you can prosper because your protection is rooted in something eternal. God's timing is always perfect, ensuring that you are always one step ahead, safely guided away from harm and placed exactly where you need to be. But your protection doesn't stop there. Generations before you have spoken blessings and prayers over your life, words of protection, strength, and favor. These prayers are like deep roots, anchoring you firmly through every storm. They create a foundation so strong that no attack can shake you. Your enemies don't understand this. They think they are fighting you, but in reality, they are waging war against divine forces far greater than anything they can comprehend. They strike blindly, unaware that every move they make is blocked, intercepted, and turned back on them by powers they cannot see. They cannot touch you because they are fighting a force they will never understand, a force that cannot be defeated. God stands before you, beside you, and behind you, and no human scheme can break through his protection. You are not just another person walking through this world. You are sacred territory, set apart and divinely protected. To rise against you is not simply a personal attack. It is a direct violation of spiritual law, an offense against God's divine authority. Those who plot against you fail to realize that they are not merely challenging you. They are trespassing on holy ground, stepping into a realm where they have no power and no right to stand. And make no mistake, God does not take this lightly. The one who called you, anointed you, and placed his hand upon your life will not stand idly by while enemies attempt to harm you. Their actions carry consequences that are both swift and severe. One by one, the foundations of their lives begin to crumble. Their health weakens, their peace disappears, their relationships fracture, and their carefully laid plans fall apart. The more they push, the harder they fall. Their relentless pursuit to harm you only accelerates their own destruction. Every step they take against you brings them closer to the consequences they cannot escape. They believe they were battling a person, a human they could intimidate or overpower. But what they fail to understand is that they have challenged God himself. And no one who fights against God can ever win. So stand firm and unshaken. You are protected, not by chance, but by divine design. Every attack against you is met with divine justice, and those who dare to cross that sacred boundary will answer to a power far greater than themselves. They might look like they're winning right now. Their schemes seem to be working, and it may even appear that they are getting away with their actions. But don't be fooled. God's timing is flawless. Divine justice doesn't rush, but it never arrives late. Every move they make is already known. Every hidden motive already exposed before the throne of God. He is watching, waiting for the perfect moment to act. And when that moment comes, it will be more powerful and more precise than anything they could have ever prepared for. What they celebrate as victory is nothing more than the calm before the storm. God allows them to move forward, to grow more confident in their wicked ways, not because he is absent, but because his patience is a space for repentance. His delay is not weakness, it is mercy. He gives them time to change, to turn away from their wrongdoings. But if they refuse, if they continue down the path of destruction, judgment will come. And when it does, it will be swift, undeniable, and unstoppable. Their carefully built plans will crumble. Their false confidence will turn into panic. Every weapon they formed against you will break in their own hands. The power they thought they had will vanish like smoke. God's justice is absolute. No one can outrun it. No one can hide from it. And when it finally comes, it will strike exactly where it hurts the most, leaving no doubt that it was God who brought it to pass. So stay patient, stay faithful. The storm is coming, and God will not be mocked. Let them plot, let them scheme, because every attack against you only brings them closer to their own destruction. You are not alone. You are protected by forces greater than anything they can comprehend. Your strength isn't in retaliation, but in your alignment with divine purpose. You are covered, shielded, and upheld by the Most High. Stay strong, stay faithful, and remember, the battle is already won. If this message has stirred your spirit, don't forget to subscribe, share this truth, and join this growing community of warriors walking in divine power. The best is yet to come. Stay blessed, and may this season bring you peace, joy, and the overflow of God's favor. What I'm about to share may surprise you, perhaps even shock you. If you're watching this video right now, it's not by coincidence. God has led you here because something powerful is happening in your life. You are shifting from wanting to having. Yes, you heard me correctly. The very things you've been praying for, hoping for, and waiting for are no longer distant desires on the horizon. They are already moving into your reality. This is far more than a simple change in mindset. It's a profound spiritual and energetic transformation. As a chosen one, you're on the brink of witnessing doors opening and opportunities aligning in ways that will leave you speechless. To fully embrace and harness the power of this shift, it's crucial to understand how it works. Before we dive into this life-changing message, I invite you to pause for a moment and do 3 powerful things. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment with the number 11, a number resonating with spiritual alignment and divine timing. If you are truly a chosen one, you'll watch this video until the end because your spirit already knows this message is for you. Those not ready for the truth may not make it, but for those who do, your life will never be the same. Let's begin. There were whispers behind your back, voices filled with doubt and ready to pounce at the slightest sign of weakness. They thought they knew your story, the one they had carefully crafted in their minds to fit their own limited expectations. They won't make it, they sneered. They're not strong enough. They'll fall. They watched you closely, waiting for the cracks to appear, eagerly anticipating the moment they could point and say, "I told you so." But what they didn't realize was that you were built for this journey, forged by trials far greater than they could ever imagine. Every challenge they thought would break you became a stepping stone, a test of your strength that only made you stronger. It wasn't just your determination that took them by surprise. It was the quiet, unshakable resolve you carried deep within. They expected you to stumble, to falter under the weight of life's obstacles. But instead, you moved forward, step by deliberate step, with a focus so steady, it left them stunned. Where they saw failure, you saw opportunity. Where they saw defeat, you uncovered the chance to rise even higher. Your journey became a mirror, one they couldn't ignore. It reflected not your weaknesses but their insecurities, their inability to see beyond their own fears and limitations. They underestimated you because they couldn't fathom a strength like yours, a strength that didn't seek validation or approval but thrived quietly, persistently, and powerfully. Each time they whispered behind your back, waiting for your collapse, they only fueled your resolve. Their doubts became the fire that propelled you forward, the energy you needed to prove, not to them but to yourself, that you were capable of so much more. What they didn't understand was that your endurance was not just physical or mental, it was spiritual. It was born from a place they couldn't touch, a place of unwavering belief that your purpose was far greater than their judgments. As they watched, their narrative unraveled. The person they thought would break was unbreakable. The one they believed would falter kept rising, leaving them speechless. Their hopes for your downfall shattered as they saw your resilience in action, a resilience that turned every setback into a comeback, every obstacle into an opportunity. In the end, it wasn't your failures that they were forced to confront, but their own misjudgment. You didn't just defy their expectations, you transcended them. And as you stood stronger, steadier, and higher than they ever thought possible, they were left with no choice but to watch in awe, knowing they had witnessed something they never believed could happen. Your undeniable, unstoppable rise. The first time they underestimated you, it was their greatest mistake. They looked at your quiet nature and misjudged it as weakness. They assumed you were just another face in the crowd, another dreamer too fragile to withstand the challenges of life, too timid to rise above mediocrity. They were quick to write you off, convinced that you lacked the strength or determination to make a real impact. But what they failed to see was the quiet storm within you, the fire that burned steadily beneath the surface. You didn't need to shout to prove your worth or demand attention to assert your presence. Instead, you focused on your path, pouring your energy into your goals. Every step forward you took, every quiet victory you claimed, spoke louder than the noise they created. While they busied themselves with judgments and assumptions, you stayed committed to the work, letting your progress speak for itself. You didn't seek validation from anyone because you didn't need it. Your belief in yourself was all the fuel you required. Their doubts, their underestimation, and their misplaced confidence in your failure became the very foundation of your strength. They couldn't see the depth of your resolve or the unshakable strength you carried within. Their misjudgment became your greatest weapon, a silent motivator that drove you to rise higher than even you thought possible. With every doubt they cast, you built another stepping stone toward greatness. In their blindness, they didn't just underestimate your potential. They handed you the fuel to transform every whisper of doubt into a roaring testament of success. What they thought would limit you only propelled you further, leaving them to marvel at a fire they never saw coming. The world has a way of putting people into boxes, defining their worth, their abilities, and their future based on narrow assumptions. It creates labels and molds, expecting everyone to conform to its expectations. But from the very beginning, you were never meant to fit into their boxes. You were destined to break free. Time and time again, they tried to impose their limits on you. They told you what you couldn't do, who you couldn't be, and how far you would never go. Yet every time you shattered their expectations, the labels they placed on you weren't confinements. They became challenges. And with every challenge, you met it head-on, armed with courage that refused to waver. You didn't just meet the expectations set for you, you obliterated them. Where others saw walls, you saw doors waiting to be opened. Where they saw barriers, you found stepping stones. Each limit they tried to impose became another opportunity for you to prove them wrong. Not out of spite, but because you knew their opinions could never define your potential. With every barrier you broke, you moved closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. The journey wasn't just about defying their expectations, it was about discovering the greatness within yourself. They thought they knew your limits. They believed they had you figured out. But they were wrong. What they didn't realize was that your spirit was never bound by their rules. You were born to rise, to break free, and to create a life that defies the molds the world tried to shape you into. And with every step forward, you continue to prove that their limits were never yours to begin with. For so long, they tried to control you. They dictated your every move, deciding what path you should take, who you should be, and how far you could go. Their expectations weighed heavily on you, their manipulations subtle, yet suffocating, and their pressures designed to keep you in line. You carried their judgments, their fears, and their vision for your life as though it was your own. But deep down, you knew this wasn't your path. You knew you were made for more. Then came the moment of realization. A powerful, undeniable truth. You could no longer live under their control. It wasn't anger or defiance that moved you. It was clarity. You saw the chains they had placed around you for what they truly were. Limitations built from their insecurities and fears. It was time to break free, to step out of their shadow and into your own light. Letting go wasn't easy. The chains weren't just physical. They had rooted themselves in your mind and spirit. Breaking free meant confronting years of conditioning, questioning everything you had been told to believe. But you fought through it all, determined to reclaim what was rightfully yours, your independence, your identity, your future. And once you broke free, there was no turning back. The moment you chose yourself, you began to see the strength within you that had been hidden all along. It was a strength born not just of survival, but of transformation. You realized you were capable of far more than they ever allowed you to believe. This wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was a necessary awakening. By stepping into your power, you became the person you were always destined to be, free, strong, and unshakable. And now, nothing can hold you back. The odds were stacked against you from the very beginning. You didn't have the resources others seem to effortlessly possess, the support system that so many take for granted, or even the belief of those around you. Everywhere you turned, it felt like the world was betting against you. But despite it all, you didn't stop. You refused to give up on yourself or your dreams, even when everything seemed to be working against you. Instead of letting adversity crush you, you learned to turn it into fuel. Every setback, every obstacle, became a spark that ignited your determination. Each time they told you it was impossible, you didn't just ignore them. You made it possible. You didn't rely on their approval or validation. You relied on your own inner strength and faith that you were meant for something greater. Your journey wasn't just about proving them wrong. It went far deeper than that. It was about proving to yourself that you were capable of rising above anything life threw your way. You realized that the greatest battle wasn't with the world, but within yourself. To silence the doubts, overcome the fear, and push forward when it felt easier to give in. With every challenge, you didn't just survive, you grew. With every failure, you didn't just stumble, you learned. Each trial became a lesson, each roadblock a stepping stone toward the person you were becoming. The odds may have been against you, but they were never strong enough to stop you. You turned your struggles into strength, your pain into progress, and your setbacks into stepping stones. Now, as you stand where others thought you'd never reach, your story isn't just one of triumph. It's a testament to the power of resilience, courage, and unwavering self-belief. What truly sets you apart isn't just your resilience. It's the extraordinary power that comes from within. This power is not loud or boastful. It doesn't demand attention. Instead, it resides quietly but firmly in the depths of your being, a constant force that sustains and strengthens you in ways that others can only marvel at. This power is far greater than physical strength. It transcends the limitations of the body and lives in your mind, heart, and spirit. It is mental clarity, the ability to stay focused and determined when chaos surrounds you. It is emotional depth, allowing you to process pain, learn from it, and rise above it without losing your compassion or sense of self. It is spiritual grounding, a connection to something greater than yourself that gives you purpose and perspective even in your darkest hours. Through every storm, this power has been your anchor, holding you steady when the winds of doubt tried to knock you down. When the path ahead seemed unclear, it became your compass, guiding you forward with unwavering assurance. While others may have faltered under pressure, you pressed on, driven by this inner force that refused to let you give up. What makes this power so remarkable is that it cannot be taken from you. It is entirely yours, a gift that grows stronger every time you face adversity. It doesn't diminish with time or fade with hardship. Instead, it deepens, becoming an unstoppable force that propels you toward your destiny. This inner strength is your greatest ally, your quiet superpower. It's not always visible to the outside world, but its presence is undeniable, both to you and to anyone fortunate enough to witness the incredible heights it enables you to reach. Every great journey has a turning point, a moment so profound that it alters the course of everything that comes after. For you, that moment wasn't just a simple change. It was a complete transformation, a shift that redefined how you saw yourself and the life you were meant to lead. In that moment, you went from questioning your abilities to embracing your inherent greatness. The doubts that once held you back no longer had a place in your mind. You realized that the struggles you had endured weren't designed to break you, but to mold you into the person you were always destined to become. The challenges you faced weren't obstacles. They were stepping stones, each one preparing you for something greater. It was as if a veil had been lifted, and for the first time, you could see the strength, potential, and purpose that had always been within you. The fears that once paralyzed you began to fade, replaced by an unwavering belief in yourself and the journey ahead. From that moment on, there was no going back. You stopped hesitating and started moving forward with boldness and intention. You embraced the power that had always been inside you, that quiet, unshakable force that had carried you through every storm. With every step you took, you walked more confidently toward your destiny, knowing that you were no longer defined by past failures or external expectations. This transformation wasn't just about rising above challenges. It was about stepping into your true self. It was a declaration to the world and to yourself that you were ready to claim the life you were meant to live, no matter what lay ahead. From that moment, your journey became unstoppable, and your path became a testament to the incredible power of self-belief and transformation. The world often defines success by material measures, wealth, status, and public recognition. It sets a standard that many chase, often losing themselves in the process. But for you, success was never about fitting into someone else's mold or meeting societal expectations. For you, true success is something far deeper. It's about personal growth, resilience, and living a life that aligns with your greater purpose. You've learned that success isn't something the world can hand to you, nor is it something that can be taken away. You've redefined what it means to succeed on your own terms, and in doing so, you've liberated yourself from the endless chase for external validation. For you, success is not about how others perceive you, but about how true you are to yourself. Every step forward is a victory, not because it's recognized by others, but because it reflects your commitment to becoming the person you are meant to be. Success is the quiet pride you feel when you've overcome a challenge, the satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to your values, and the peace that comes from living authentically. This new definition has freed you. You no longer measure yourself by comparisons or competition. Instead, you measure your progress by the distance you've traveled on your journey and the lessons you've learned along the way. For you, success isn't a destination, but a way of living. It's about embracing your path, no matter how unconventional, and finding joy in the process of becoming. By choosing to live in alignment with your purpose, you've unlocked a form of success that no wealth or recognition could ever provide: true fulfillment. Your rise isn't just a personal triumph. It's a ripple effect that will reach far beyond what you can imagine, inspiring generations to come. Your story, shaped by resilience and fueled by unwavering determination, will serve as a beacon of hope for others. It will encourage those who feel trapped by their circumstances to defy the odds, rise above their challenges, and pursue their own greatness. Every step you've taken, every obstacle you've overcome, has not only been for you but for those who will look to your journey as proof that it's possible to achieve the extraordinary. Your victories carry a message that even when the world counts you out, even when the odds seem insurmountable, the power within you can lead to unimaginable heights. You were chosen for something far greater than yourself, a purpose that transcends personal success. Your journey is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and the potential that lies within each of us. It is a reminder that greatness isn't about being flawless. It's about being courageous, determined, and willing to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. Though the world may not have been ready for you before, they can no longer deny your presence. Now they will witness the greatness you were born to achieve. Your journey is just beginning, and its impact will ripple outward, touching lives and changing perspectives. This isn't just your story, it's a legacy in the making, a legacy that will inspire others to believe in their own power, pursue their purpose, and rise to their own greatness. The world is watching now, and what they will see is a life that defies limits and ignites hope. You were never meant to live a life of mediocrity. From the moment you took your first breath, a greater destiny was in store for you. Every challenge, every triumph, has been leading you to this moment. You are living proof that no matter the odds, greatness is possible. Your purpose is woven into the fabric of the universe. As you continue to walk this path, there is no limit to the heights you will reach. This is your time to rise, to inspire, and to transform the world around you. The Chosen One isn't just a title, it's a destiny, and you are living it. Chosen Ones, today I bring you a message of profound importance. We are standing on the threshold of a truly unique and powerful time, a divine crossroads where spiritual energies, heavenly cycles, and the signs of our Creator align in perfect harmony. This is not just the passing of another year. 2025 is a spiritual milestone, a sacred invitation to transformation, reflection, and action. Have you ever sensed that something monumental is about to unfold? That shift in the air? An unexplainable yet undeniable feeling that change is near? That is the energy surrounding 2025. This coming year carries with it a deep, spiritual resonance, calling us to rise, to awaken, and to walk boldly in the purpose God has placed within us. But why is 2025 so significant? It is a year marked by the powerful symbolism of the number 9 in numerology, a number representing wisdom, the closing of cycles, and the promise of renewal. As if this divine message wasn't enough, 2025 is also guided by the wood snake in Chinese astrology, a creature symbolizing profound transformation, intuition, and spiritual growth. These divine signs are not coincidences. They are clear messages from God, urging us to examine our hearts, release what no longer serves us, and step confidently into the future He has lovingly prepared. Yet we must remember that transformation is never easy. It demands courage, unwavering faith, and complete trust in God's perfect plans. So if you feel this message stirring within your spirit, I invite you to stay with me. Let us embark on this journey together to discover how we, as the chosen ones, can prepare for the divine transformation that 2025 will bring. Before we continue, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share this message with others who are seeking God's truth. Together we can spread His light to every corner of the world. In the spiritual realm, the number 9 holds profound and extraordinary significance. It is far more than just a number. It is a divine symbol of wisdom, completion, and renewal. As we approach the year 2025, the powerful energy of this number will become a guiding force for all who feel the stirring of God's call within their hearts. It will serve as a beacon of light, illuminating our path through the uncertainties of life and leading us closer to the fulfillment of God's divine purpose. The number 9 represents the completion of a cycle, but this completion is not one of loss or despair. Rather, it signifies the closing of chapters that have served their purpose and the opening of doors to new beginnings. It is as if God Himself is gently whispering to us, "My child, it is time to let go of what no longer aligns with your purpose. I am preparing you for something far greater." This sacred transition is not about endings, but about making space for the new blessings and opportunities God has prepared. For God's chosen ones, this message is a clear and direct call to deep reflection, to examine our hearts, release the burdens of the past, and open ourselves to the transformation God desires for us. It is an invitation to act with compassion and generosity, to let go of selfish pursuits, and to fully embrace our role as instruments of divine truth. The number 9 is deeply symbolic of the wise elder, the one who has walked a long, winding path, gathering experiences, lessons, and insights along the way. This elder has reached a point in their journey where they are no longer driven by ambition or personal gain, but feel a sacred responsibility to share the wisdom they have gained. For us, this symbolism is a powerful invitation to rise above mere knowledge and step into the realm of true wisdom. True wisdom is not found in facts or intellectual understanding alone. It is compassion in action, the ability to look at others through the lens of love, understanding their struggles, their pain, and their hopes, and responding with genuine kindness. It is the kind of wisdom that reflects God's heart, calling us to serve not for recognition, but out of sincere love for others. We are called to be light in the world, to illuminate the darkness around us with God's love and grace. This calling doesn't demand grand, heroic gestures. Instead, it finds its greatest strength in the small, consistent acts of love. A warm smile offered to a stranger, a comforting word to someone in pain, a helping hand extended without expectation of return. These seemingly simple actions, when done with a heart full of love, can ripple through lives in ways we may never fully understand. Never underestimate the power of these small acts. A single word of encouragement can give someone the strength to keep going. A quiet act of kindness can heal a broken heart. In embracing this calling, we embody the true spirit of wisdom, living with compassion, humility, and love, becoming vessels of God's light in a world that so desperately needs it. The year 2025 will be a profound season of truth and revelation. God's divine light will shine brighter than ever, uncovering what has been hidden, not only in the world around us, but deep within our own hearts. This unveiling will be both enlightening and challenging, as it will expose not only the goodness within us, but also the areas that need correction and healing. This process may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, but we must remember that God does not reveal these truths to condemn us. Instead, He does so to liberate us from the burdens we carry and the barriers that separate us from His divine purpose. Living in truth is more than simply being honest. It is about walking in complete integrity. There is no longer room for masks, falsehoods, or superficial living. The time has come to cast aside anything that is not genuine, pretenses, hidden sins, and the facades we present to the world. God is calling us to be authentic and true, to stand firmly in His truth, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it may be. It is in this truth that we discover true freedom. When we live openly and honestly before God and others, we are no longer weighed down by the fear of being exposed or judged. This freedom allows us to fully embrace who God created us to be, walking boldly in His light and fulfilling the purpose He has designed for our lives. Another profound lesson carried by the number 9 is the call to selfless service. As we enter 2025, this divine energy urges us to serve others with genuine love and compassion. This service is not measured by the size or grandeur of our actions, but by the purity of our hearts. True service begins in the smallest, most humble acts. A warm smile to a stranger, a word of encouragement to someone who is struggling, or even a silent prayer whispered on behalf of another. These seemingly simple gestures, when done with love, have the power to transform lives in ways we may never fully see or understand. God sees every act of love, no matter how small or unnoticed it may seem. He takes each kind word, each thoughtful deed, and each quiet prayer and multiplies them beyond our imagination. He nurtures these acts, weaving them into His greater plan, using them as instruments of healing, comfort, and transformation in the lives of others. In a world so often driven by self-interest and recognition, God is calling us to embody a spirit of true altruism, to serve without seeking anything in return. This kind of service reflects the heart of Christ, who humbled Himself to serve others with compassion and grace. The number 9 also powerfully symbolizes the importance of persistence. Our journey of faith is not a momentary decision, but a lifelong commitment, a way of living that requires unwavering dedication. Walking with God calls for consistency in love, kindness, and truth, even when we don't see immediate results. It is easy to grow weary when our efforts seem unnoticed or when prayers seem unanswered. But God reminds us that every act of goodness, every prayer, and every step of faith is part of His greater plan. Sometimes it takes just 3 right actions to change a life: a small step of obedience, a kind word spoken in love, or a helping hand extended without expectation. 3 sincere prayers can open doors that seemed forever closed, moving mountains in ways we cannot see. God is always working behind the scenes, shaping circumstances and transforming hearts. He calls us to be steadfast and faithful, trusting that He is actively working in us and through us. Our persistence in doing good, even in quiet and unseen ways, allows God's will to unfold in powerful ways. Let us remain committed, knowing that in due time, God's promises will be fulfilled. In addition to the profound energy of the number 9, the year 2025 is also governed by the wood snake in Chinese astrology. For us as God's chosen ones, this is more than a cultural symbol. It is a divine metaphor that reveals how God is working in our lives. The wood snake embodies themes of transformation, intuition, and strategic growth, mirroring the spiritual journey God is calling us to undertake in this new season. The snake is a powerful symbol of renewal and transformation. Just as a snake must shed its skin to grow, we are called to release the habits, mindsets, relationships, and burdens that no longer serve God's divine purpose for our lives. This shedding process may feel uncomfortable or even painful, but it is necessary for growth. God is inviting us to let go of anything that holds us back from fully stepping into the future He has prepared. This transformation is not superficial. It is not about changing our outward appearance or circumstances alone. It is a deep internal renewal, a reshaping of our hearts, minds, and spirits. God is calling us to examine ourselves honestly, to recognize what separates us from Him, and to surrender it all so that He can refine and renew us. This is the kind of change that leads to lasting freedom and purpose. The snake is also a symbol of intuition and heightened spiritual awareness. In 2025, God will speak to us not always through loud declarations, but through quiet whispers, subtle signs, and gentle nudges in our hearts. He may guide us through feelings of peace or unease, unexpected opportunities, or through scripture that suddenly comes alive with meaning. This requires us to be spiritually sensitive and deeply attuned to His voice. We must learn to quiet the noise of the world and listen carefully for God's direction. Often, His guidance will not make sense from a human perspective, but this year challenges us to trust not in what we see, but in the divine wisdom that God imparts within us. Trusting God means walking by faith, not by sight. It means making decisions led by His Spirit rather than by fear, logic, or societal pressure. God's plans are greater than anything we could ever imagine, but we must be willing to listen and follow. However, the reflective nature of the wood snake comes with a caution. The snake is methodical and thoughtful, but if we are not careful, this introspection can lead to isolation or procrastination. While reflection is essential for growth, God reminds us that faith without works is dead. We are called to balance deep reflection with bold action. This means listening to God's guidance and then moving forward in obedience. We cannot remain in a state of endless contemplation or hesitation. God desires us to be both wise and active, to reflect deeply, but also to act decisively when He calls. This year, God is teaching us the importance of timing and strategy. Like the snake that moves carefully but strikes at the right moment, we are called to act with purpose and precision. Waiting on God's timing does not mean inaction. It means preparing our hearts and being ready to move when He says, "Go." In 2025, the combined energies of the number 9 and the wood snake are a powerful call to spiritual transformation. We are invited to shed the old, renew our hearts, and trust in God's wisdom to guide us forward. This process requires us to be both reflective and active, listening carefully for God's voice and moving with courage when He directs us. Let us step boldly into this season of renewal, trusting that God is working within us, transforming us, and preparing us to fulfill His greater purpose. In every moment of reflection and every act of obedience, may we become vessels of His love, His light, and His divine truth. Chosen ones, the year 2025 is like a spiritual garden, rich with the potential for new growth and transformation. But for new seeds to take root and flourish, the soil of our hearts must first be prepared. This means we must clear the soil, remove the weeds, and make space for what God desires to plant within us. This process can be difficult, even painful, but it is absolutely necessary for us to experience the fullness of God's blessings. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to that God is asking you to release? It could be a destructive habit, a relationship that no longer aligns with God's purpose, a limiting mindset, or even deeply rooted fears. These things weigh us down and prevent us from stepping into the abundant life God has prepared. God is lovingly inviting us to let go of these burdens so that our hands and hearts are open to receive greater blessings of peace, purpose, and joy. This process of release requires both forgiveness and gratitude. Forgiveness frees us from the chains of past hurts and mistakes, while gratitude softens our hearts, allowing us to see God's hand in every season of our lives. With hearts free and open, God can plant new seeds of hope, purpose, and abundance. Once we release the old, we are called to plant new seeds. This is the time to begin new projects, nurture relationships, and seize opportunities that align with God's divine plan. Let us step into 2025 with boldness and faith, committing to be catalysts for change, spreading God's love and light in our families, our communities, and throughout the world. The harvest will be great for those who prepare their hearts and trust in God's perfect timing. Chosen ones, the year 2025 will be a powerful season of endings and new beginnings, a divine invitation from God to reflect, renew, and rise. This is not just another year on the calendar. It is a sacred opportunity to examine our lives, release what no longer serves God's purpose, and boldly step into the future He has so lovingly prepared for us. God is calling us to shed old burdens, whether they are unhealthy habits, limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, or deep-seated fears. These things may feel familiar, but they weigh us down and hinder us from embracing the new life God wants to give us. Just as a gardener clears the soil to make space for fresh growth, we must clear our hearts and minds to receive the blessings and opportunities God is planting in this new season. Let us embrace this transformation with faith, courage, and compassion, trusting that God is guiding us every step of the way. This is a time to let go, to trust His process, and to walk forward with confidence, knowing that His plans for us are filled with hope and promise. Now, I invite you to reflect. What are you leaving behind in 2025? What new seeds are you planting for the future God has planned for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be the very inspiration someone else needs to answer God's call. If this message has touched your heart, please subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so we can continue spreading God's light to those who need it most. May God bless you abundantly as you step into this season of transformation. You are here for a reason. Stop everything else and focus, because what you're about to hear will change your life forever. This message is not for everyone. It is specifically for the chosen ones, those handpicked by God for His divine purpose. If you are unsure whether this is for you, take a moment to listen. If it resonates, it's because it was meant for you. If not, feel free to turn away. But know this: those who stay to the end will discover a truth so powerful, it will transform your heart, spirit, and destiny. I am here as a messenger, a vessel for the Most High God, delivering a word that can no longer wait. This is not a message of comfort, but of urgency and fire, a message that burns within my spirit and must be released. Listen carefully. You are standing at the threshold of your final test. This is not just another challenge. It is the ultimate test, the one that will determine whether you break through to your destiny or remain in the wilderness of waiting. It is the test that will separate the ready from the unready, the faithful from the wavering. Until you pass this test, nothing will change. Every door will remain shut, every effort will feel futile, and every step forward will seem like walking in circles. But if you overcome, everything will shift. This is not a time for pretty words or false comfort. This is a wake-up call, a truth that will ignite your soul and propel you into action. Are you ready to receive it? If so, prepare your heart and let these words sink deep into your spirit. This test is not about your strength, intelligence, or accomplishments. It is about the condition of your heart, the depth of your faith, and your ability to endure. It is about whether you can hold on to God's promises when everything around you suggests giving up. It's about trusting Him in the silence, leaning into His will during the storms, and remaining steadfast when life feels unbearable. Look at Joseph, a man chosen by God for greatness. God gave Joseph dreams, visions of leadership, and a destiny that would elevate him above his brothers. But before Joseph could step into the promise, he was plunged into a season of testing. Betrayed by his own family, sold into slavery, and falsely accused, Joseph found himself in prison, seemingly forgotten and far from the dreams God had shown him. Yet these trials were not a punishment. They were a divine preparation. Why did God allow Joseph to endure such hardships? Because Joseph wasn't ready for the palace until he had been refined in the pit. The trials weren't meant to break him, but to shape him. God wasn't just preparing the blessing for Joseph. He was preparing Joseph to carry the blessing with humility, wisdom, and strength. In the same way, God is working in your life. The test you are enduring is not to harm you, but to refine you. It is stripping away everything that could hinder your divine calling: fear, doubt, pride, insecurity. It is cultivating in you a faith that cannot be shaken, a trust in God that is unwavering, and a heart that is fully surrendered. Isaiah 48:10 declares, "I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." The furnace is not a place of punishment. It is a place of transformation. God allows the heat of trials to burn away impurities and strengthen the character required for your destiny. His primary focus is not on what He's giving you, but on who you are becoming in the process. Understand this: God's blessings are never just for your enjoyment. They are entrusted to those who can steward them for His glory. The transformation happening within you is essential, because the weight of your calling is too great to be carried by unprepared hands. This test, though painful, is shaping you into a vessel worthy of God's purpose. Embrace it, for your transformation is the key to unlocking the promise. When you emerge, you will be stronger, wiser, and ready to walk fully in the destiny God has prepared for you. Hold on, chosen one. This refining process is creating in you a heart that reflects the very image of God. The promise is near. Some of you find yourselves in a place that feels all too familiar, a place where prayers for breakthroughs seem to go unanswered, where every effort to move forward feels blocked, and where the circumstances you long to change remain stubbornly the same. You've asked why. You've cried out to God for answers. And here's the hard truth: you didn't pass the test. Like the Israelites, who wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, you've been circling the same mountains of delay, frustration, and disappointment. The Israelites doubted God's promises and allowed fear to dictate their actions. Instead of trusting the One who had parted the Red Sea, they complained, hesitated, and disobeyed. As a result, they delayed their destiny and missed the victory that could have been theirs much sooner. But this doesn't have to be your story. God's will for your life is not endless wandering, but victorious living. The test you're facing now is not meant to defeat you. It is designed to elevate you. God's desire is to move you forward, to open doors, and to bring you into the fullness of His promises. But He cannot do that until you are ready. The test before you is not punishment, it is preparation. Pass this test, and every barrier holding you back will break. Pass this test, and you will step into a new season of divine purpose and fulfillment. Consider Jesus, our ultimate example. Before he began his ministry, he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, a place of testing. For 40 days and nights, he endured hunger, faced relentless temptation, and battled the enemy himself. Yet, this time in the wilderness was not a punishment. It was preparation. It was here that his obedience was tested, his faith was solidified, and his mission was clarified. The wilderness was necessary. Without the wilderness, there would have been no cross. Without the cross, there would have been no resurrection. And without the resurrection, there would be no victory over sin and death. Jesus' time of testing was not just for him, it was for us. It paved the way for the ultimate triumph that changed eternity. Your wilderness serves a similar purpose. It is not a dead end. It is the pathway to your promise. It is shaping you, refining you, and aligning you with God's will. The breakthrough you seek, the victory you long for, and the purpose you desire are all on the other side of this test. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Trust that God's plans are good, that His promises are true, and that He is working all things together for your good. This test is your gateway to greater things. Step into it with faith, endure it with trust, and emerge victorious, ready to fulfill the destiny God has prepared for you. You cannot pray this test away, skip it, or avoid it. No amount of pleading will cause God to remove the refining process, because it is not born out of cruelty, but out of His deep, abiding love for you. He knows that the blessing you've been asking for, the promotion, the relationship, the calling, is not just a gift, it's a responsibility. Without the foundation of faith, character, and endurance forged in the fire, the very blessing you desire could overwhelm and crush you. God loves you far too much to allow that to happen. Instead, He places you in the fire, not to destroy you, but to refine you, to shape you into the person capable of carrying the weight of His purpose. 2 Corinthians 4:17 reminds us, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." The struggles you are enduring now, the unanswered prayers, the long waits, the heartaches, are not without purpose. They are temporary, but the glory they are producing is eternal. The fire of testing may feel overwhelming, but it is burning away the impurities that cannot go with you into your destiny: fear, doubt, pride, and any reliance on your own strength. Think of a blacksmith refining silver. The process involves intense heat, enough to melt away every impurity, leaving only the purest form of the metal behind. This is what God is doing in you. The flames may feel fierce, but they are under His control. He is the master craftsman, carefully tending the fire to ensure it doesn't consume you, but instead refines and strengthens you. He is not punishing you, He is preparing you. This refining process is not about withholding your promise. It is about ensuring that both you and the promise are ready. The glory that awaits you on the other side of this test is far greater than the pain of enduring it. The character, wisdom, and faith you gain in this season will not only prepare you for the blessing, but will also enable you to sustain it and glorify God through it. You cannot rush this process because it is essential for your transformation. The person you are becoming matters more to God than the blessing itself. He is not just answering your prayers. He is elevating your spirit, deepening your trust, and aligning your heart with His divine purpose. Failing this test means more than just a temporary setback. It means remaining stuck in the same frustrating cycles of waiting, delay, and unfulfilled promises. It means circling the same mountain of doubt and disappointment, unable to move forward into the fullness of what God has planned for your life. But listen closely. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to repeat the same patterns or live in a perpetual state of almost. God's plan for you is not one of stagnation, but one of hope, victory, and divine purpose. The test you're facing is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to shape you. God is using this moment to prepare you for what's ahead. The blessings you've been praying for are not just rewards. They are responsibilities. To carry them well, you must first become the person God has called you to be. Strong in faith, unwavering in trust, and aligned with His will. This is your moment. Chosen one. The test before you is not an obstacle. It is the key to your breakthrough. It is the bridge between who you are now and who God has destined you to become. It is refining you, strengthening you, and readying you for the next level of your calling. Do not let fear or frustration cause you to give up. Stand firm in the face of the trial, knowing that God is working all things for your good. Pass this test, and you will step into a season of transformation, victory, and purpose beyond anything you've imagined. The path to your destiny starts here. Walk boldly into it with faith. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead, the power of resurrection, triumph, and unshakable victory, lives within you. This is not just a comforting thought. It is a divine reality. You are not alone in the battle you face. Heaven is fighting for you, and all of God's promises are standing firm on your behalf. Jeremiah 29:11 assures us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But stepping into that future requires something of you. It demands endurance to press on when the road is long, faith to trust God when His plans are unclear, and surrender to release control and submit fully to His will. These qualities are not easy to cultivate, but they are essential for unlocking the life God has prepared for you. Do not fear the fire you are walking through. It may feel intense, but it is not meant to consume you. It is refining you, purifying you, and preparing you for the greatness that lies ahead. Resist the urge to escape the process or rush its timing. God is faithful. What He has begun in you, He will bring to completion. Trust the one who holds the fire and know that every moment of this journey is working for your good. You are being shaped into a vessel of honor, equipped to carry the blessings and purpose God has ordained for your life. Hold on, chosen one, for the power of God within you is greater than anything you face, and His plans for you are far beyond what you could ever imagine. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, Almighty Creator of heaven and earth, we come before you with hearts full of reverence. You are holy, righteous, and sovereign over all. We call upon your presence in this moment, asking you to move mightily in our lives. Lord, we are in the midst of a test that feels overwhelming, stretching us to our limits. But we declare today that we will not face this test in our own strength. We call upon you, the God who strengthens the weary and increases the power of the weak. Father, refine us in this fire. Strip away every fear, doubt, pride, and unbelief. Shape us into vessels of honor, ready to carry the weight of your glory. We declare that this test is not the end. It is the beginning of our breakthrough. You are opening doors that no one can shut and making ways where there seem to be none. Chains are breaking, strongholds are falling, and miracles are being released. Lord, bless every person connected to this message. Surround them with your favor, protect them from the enemy, and pour out blessings they cannot contain. Let this season of testing prepare them for a season of victory. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen. If this message has stirred something deep within you, don't let this moment pass. Take a bold step of faith and declare in the comments, "Jesus, I surrender myself to you." This is not just a statement. It is a proclamation of trust, faith, and your commitment to stepping into the destiny God has prepared for you. Your words have power, and this simple act of surrender can mark the beginning of a life-changing journey. We also invite you to join us in spreading God's truth and hope to others. By liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel, you're not just supporting a mission, you're sowing seeds into the kingdom of God. Every act of engagement helps carry this message to hearts that desperately need to hear it, transforming lives and igniting faith around the world. Your partnership in this mission matters more than you know. Chosen one. Remember this: your wilderness is not your destination. It is the pathway to your promise. God is working in you, refining you, and preparing you for something greater. Pass this test and step boldly into the fullness of your divine destiny. Heaven is cheering you on, and the world is waiting for you to rise. Thank you for being part of this journey and for standing with us in faith. Together, we are spreading hope, sharing truth, and building a legacy for God's glory. Your breakthrough is near. Keep going, and trust that God's promises will never fail. Stay connected and let's continue this journey of faith together. Imagine for a moment that your soul, in its infinite wisdom, chose the exact family you were born into, not as a random act of chaos, but with the precision of a master artist. It carefully examined the tapestry of this life, the challenges that lay ahead, and said, "This is where I will grow. This is where I will awaken." And yet here you are, questioning why you were placed in a family that feels like a battlefield. Why were you raised in an environment that seemed to chip away at your spirit instead of nurturing it? I've been there. You've been there. We all know the pain, the doubt, and the anger that comes with being born into a toxic family. But let me share a profound truth. Being born into a toxic family is not a punishment. It's not some cruel twist of karma designed to haunt you. It is a gift, a monumental, life-altering, paradigm-shifting gift. I know it doesn't feel that way. Not yet. But stay with me, and together, we'll explore the hidden wisdom buried within your pain. We'll uncover the reason why your soul chose this path and how it's shaping you into something extraordinary. Toxic families are like fire. They burn, leaving deep scars that linger far beyond the moments of pain. They hurt in ways words often fail to capture. Yet fire has another purpose. It forges. It tempers steel, making it stronger, more resilient, and capable of withstanding immense pressure. In much the same way, the challenges of growing up in a toxic family forge the soul, stripping away the comforting illusions that life is always simple or fair. They force us to confront the raw, unfiltered truth of what it means to be human, to experience pain, and ultimately, to grow from it. If you've ever felt like you don't belong, as if you were dropped into a family that doesn't reflect who you are, it's not a coincidence. That feeling of being different is your soul recognizing its mission. Toxic families are, paradoxically, the perfect training ground for those destined to break generational cycles. Those who bear this unique burden are often the ones we call the chosen ones. You weren't born to live an ordinary, unremarkable life. You weren't placed here to follow in the footsteps of the dysfunction you've witnessed. Instead, you were chosen to rise above it all, to transcend the pain and transform it into something beautiful. But why? Why would your soul willingly choose such a path of hardship? The answer lies in the nature of the toxicity you were born into. It is not random. It is deeply ancestral and generational. The pain, the dysfunction, and the harmful patterns that surround you are the cumulative weight of unhealed wounds, unspoken truths, and unconscious behaviors passed down through your lineage. These cycles didn't start with your family, but they were handed to them, and now they have been handed to you. And here's where your role becomes extraordinary. You, my friend, were born to stop it. You were chosen to be the one who sees the cycle clearly, who understands its weight and pain, and who has the courage to break it once and for all. You are here to heal, not just for yourself, but for all those who came before you and all those who will come after. Let that truth settle in for a moment. You weren't born to fit in or conform. You weren't meant to live a life dictated by fear, pain, or dysfunction. You were born to stand out, to challenge the patterns that have kept generations trapped, and to create a new legacy. This is what makes you the chosen one. It's not an easy role, but it's a sacred one. Through your courage to confront and heal, you are forging a path of freedom and transformation, not just for yourself, but for your entire lineage. To break a cycle, you must first experience it. You cannot heal what you don't understand, and you cannot rise above what you haven't faced. That is why you were placed in the middle of the storm, not to drown in its chaos, but to learn how to navigate its turbulent waters. Life has a way of putting us in exactly the situations we need to grow, even if they seem unbearable at the time. The storm is your teacher, your forge, your preparation for something greater. Take a moment and think about your family. What do you see? Do you see anger simmering beneath every conversation? Neglect, where love should have been? Manipulation, disguised as care? Or control, suffocating your sense of freedom? These are painful truths, but they are truths nonetheless. Now let's take this reflection a step further. Where do you see that same energy within yourself? This is one of the hardest questions to ask because it requires brutal honesty. It's far easier to blame our families for their dysfunction than it is to see how we've internalized their behaviors. But the truth is this: toxic families don't just wound us, they mirror us. They reflect back the parts of ourselves we are too afraid to face, the anger we suppress, the need for control we deny, the neglect we inflict upon ourselves by ignoring our own needs. And this is why, as painful as it is, your family is a gift. Their dysfunction is a mirror, giving you a chance to see yourself with raw, unflinching clarity. This doesn't mean their behavior is justified or excusable. It means it has a purpose. Within the fire of their dysfunction lies an unparalleled opportunity, not only to heal yourself but to transform yourself. As you begin to confront the wounds and patterns you've inherited, something extraordinary happens. You start to shift, to release what no longer serves you. And with every step you take toward healing, you transform not just yourself but the entire lineage from which you came. By breaking the cycle, you don't just end the pain for yourself. You end it for those who came before you and for those who will come after. So, as hard as it may be, look at your family with new eyes. See the storm not as a punishment, but as preparation. See the pain not as something to resent, but as a challenge to rise above. The storm is not here to destroy you. It is here to show you your strength. The mirror they hold up is not meant to shame you. It is meant to awaken you. And as you heal, you become the catalyst for an entirely new story, one where the cycles of pain are broken and replaced with cycles of love, growth, and freedom. Let's be clear. This journey is not easy. Being born into a toxic family is one of the hardest paths a soul can choose. It demands a level of resilience, courage, and inner strength that many never imagine they possess. It requires you to confront rejection from the very people who were meant to embrace you, betrayal from those who were supposed to protect you, and sometimes even the heartbreak of abandonment. It's a path fraught with challenges that test every fiber of your being. But here's the profound truth. While this path is painful, it is also transformative. The shift begins when you realize that your family's toxicity is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their pain. The anger, manipulation, and neglect you've experienced are not about you. They stem from their unhealed wounds, their fears, and their limitations. Once you see this clearly, the burden begins to lift. Every time you choose love over hate, understanding over judgment, and compassion over anger, you are breaking the cycle. You are dismantling patterns that have persisted for generations, rewriting the story not just for yourself, but for your entire lineage. Each act of grace, no matter how small, is a powerful act of defiance against the toxicity that has sought to define you. Imagine for a moment, what would happen if you stopped fighting your family? What if, instead of resisting their dysfunction, you started to see them as your greatest teachers? This doesn't mean excusing their behavior or denying your pain. It means shifting your perspective to see the lessons hidden within the chaos. What are they teaching you about boundaries, about self-worth, about the power of choosing differently? This is where true transformation begins, not by running from the pain or pretending it doesn't exist, but by embracing it as a catalyst for growth. The wounds you carry from your family hold valuable lessons. They teach you resilience, the strength to stand firm in your truth, and the ability to love yourself even when others cannot. They challenge you to rise above the patterns you've inherited, and to forge a new path defined by healing and wholeness. When you stop seeing your family as the source of your suffering and start recognizing them as the crucible through which your strength is forged, everything changes. Their actions, as hurtful as they may be, become an opportunity for you to define who you truly are. The rejection teaches you self-acceptance. The betrayal teaches you trust in yourself. The abandonment pushes you toward independence and self-reliance. Transformation doesn't come from denying the pain, but from embracing its lessons. When you lean into this truth, you step into your power. You begin to see the toxic environment not as a curse, but as the fertile ground where your resilience, compassion, and courage have taken root. And from there, you can grow into the person you were always meant to be, the one who breaks the cycle and brings light to the shadows of your lineage. Pain, especially the kind born from family, is a unique kind of hurt. It cuts deeply because it comes from the people who were supposed to nurture and protect us. But here's the thing: pain cannot be outrun. No matter how far you go, it travels with you, quietly settling into the corners of your heart and mind. Family wounds, whether they stem from criticism, neglect, control, or conditional love, shape who we are. They influence how we see the world, how we see others, and most profoundly, how we see ourselves. These wounds hurt deeply, but they also hold the key to our awakening. They are not just marks of what we've endured. They are lessons waiting to be uncovered. Every wound carries a truth. Every scar tells a story. And every moment of pain holds within it the potential for growth and transformation. Take a moment and think about the pain your family caused you. What emotions come to the surface? Anger, perhaps, at the unfairness of it all? Resentment at the betrayal of trust? Sadness at the love you needed but didn't receive? Maybe it's a mix of all three. Now pause and ask yourself a deeper question. What are those emotions teaching you about yourself? Anger might be pointing to your need for boundaries, showing you where your soul refuses to be mistreated anymore. Resentment may reveal the places where you've sacrificed too much of yourself to please others. Sadness might be highlighting the depth of love and connection you truly desire, a longing that's worth honoring and pursuing. The healing process begins when you realize a profound truth. The pain inflicted on you was never really about you. It was about them, your family's unhealed wounds, their fears, and their limitations. Their criticism, neglect, or control didn't reflect your value. It reflected their struggles. But somewhere along the way, you internalized it. You began to believe that their pain was a measure of your worth, that their inability to love you unconditionally meant you were somehow unlovable. This is where your true work begins. It starts with separating yourself from the stories your family wrote for you. The lies that say you're not enough, that you have to earn love, or that your voice doesn't matter. Healing means reclaiming your identity, peeling back the layers of their projections, and rediscovering who you are at your core. This journey isn't easy. It requires you to face the pain head-on, to grieve what you've lost, and to release the beliefs that no longer serve you. But as you do, something incredible happens. You begin to see the wounds not as defining scars, but as the fertile soil for your growth. You learn that your value was never tied to their actions, that their inability to love you as you deserved says nothing about your worth. Healing is the process of coming home to yourself, of reclaiming your power, and of rewriting your story. It's about transforming the pain of your past into the strength and wisdom of your future. And it all begins with the decision to face the pain, to learn its lessons, and to step boldly into the truth of who you really are. Healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's not about becoming something new or striving to be someone you're not. Instead, healing is about remembering who you were before the wounds, before the world's pain, judgments, and expectations left their marks on your heart. It's a process of peeling back the layers of conditioning, unlearning the stories you were told about your worth, and reconnecting with the essence of who you are. Beneath the hurt and the scars, your true self has always been there, waiting to be rediscovered. But true healing requires three essential things: self-love, self-compassion, and self-discipline. Self-love is the foundation of it all. It's the radical act of choosing yourself, even when others don't. It's recognizing that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's approval, affection, or validation. Self-love is about honoring your needs, protecting your boundaries, and affirming that you are enough exactly as you are. It's not selfish, it's essential. Without it, healing cannot truly begin. Self-compassion is the gentle voice that walks with you on this journey. It's the part of you that says, it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to not have all the answers right now. Healing isn't linear, and self-compassion gives you the grace to be human, to feel deeply, and to grow at your own pace. It's a reminder that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and understanding, especially from yourself. Self-discipline is the commitment to show up for yourself every day, even when it's hard. Healing is not always comfortable. There will be days when old patterns resurface, when the pain feels heavier than usual, or when progress feels slow. But self-discipline is what keeps you moving forward. It's the choice to prioritize your well-being, to create habits that nurture your soul, and to take small but steady steps toward the life you deserve. Now let me ask you, what would your life look like if you lived as though you were truly worthy of love and happiness? Imagine waking up each day with the unshakable belief that you deserve kindness, joy, and peace. Not because of what you achieve or prove, but simply because you exist. What choices would you make? Would you set stronger boundaries? Let go of toxic relationships? Pursue your passions without fear of judgment? Living as though you are worthy isn't just a dream, it's a decision. It's choosing to align your actions with the truth of your value. It's letting go of the fear that holds you back and embracing the freedom to be unapologetically yourself. And as you do, you'll find that healing becomes less about overcoming the past and more about stepping fully into the life you were always meant to live. Breaking free isn't about cutting ties or abandoning your family entirely, though for some, that may be necessary for healing. Instead, breaking free is about something far deeper. It's about detaching from their energy, their expectations, and the narratives they've woven around your identity. It's about reclaiming your sense of self and loving them, not out of obligation or guilt, but from a place of wholeness and inner peace. True freedom isn't found in physical distance, though that can sometimes help. It's found in emotional liberation. It's in realizing that you no longer have to carry the weight of their opinions, their pain, or their projections. Freedom means recognizing that their actions, whether they were neglectful, controlling, or critical, do not define your worth. Their inability to show love in the way you deserved says nothing about your lovability. Detaching doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It means you stop letting their dysfunction dictate your life. You release the patterns and beliefs you've unconsciously inherited, the ones that tell you to stay small, to prioritize their needs over your own, or to live a life that satisfies their expectations instead of your own truth. When you break free, you allow yourself to see your family for who they are. Flawed, wounded individuals doing the best they can with the tools they have. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you understand it. From that place of understanding, you can choose how to engage with them in ways that honor your boundaries and protect your peace. When you heal, your transformation doesn't end with you. Healing is never a solitary act. It reverberates through time, creating a ripple effect that touches not only your life, but the lives of those who came before you and those who will come after. Your decision to confront and release the pain you've inherited is an act of profound courage, and its impact is far greater than you may realize. By choosing to heal, you break the chains of generational patterns that have kept your lineage trapped in cycles of pain, dysfunction, and unhealed wounds. You disrupt the flow of inherited trauma, paving the way for future generations to live with greater freedom, love, and self-awareness. And while the past cannot be changed, your healing shifts its energy. When you heal yourself, you honor your ancestors by showing that transformation is possible, even when they couldn't achieve it themselves. But healing doesn't mean fixing your family. You are not responsible for mending their wounds or solving their problems. Your greatest act of love isn't in trying to save them. It's in becoming the fullest, freest version of yourself. By stepping into your own power, you create a living example of what is possible. Your healing plants seeds of change in your family, even if you don't see immediate results. Sometimes those seeds take time to grow, and sometimes they bloom in ways you never anticipated. But your growth, your light, and your liberation inspire others in ways that words cannot. What if the greatest gift you could give your family is the permission to heal themselves by witnessing your journey? What if your transformation becomes their awakening? That's the power of your healing. It's not just for you, it's for everyone. Your family's toxicity is not your destiny, it's your training ground. It's the fire that forges you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Each time you rise above the pain, every time you choose to heal rather than perpetuate the cycle, you fulfill your purpose as a chosen one. Your journey is not accidental, it's deeply intentional. You were not born into a toxic family by mistake. You were born into it because you are strong enough to transcend its challenges, wise enough to extract its lessons, and brave enough to transform its pain into purpose. The circumstances you faced were not meant to break you but to shape you into the person you are meant to be. A cycle breaker, a healer, and a beacon of light for others. So, let me leave you with this question. If you fully embraced your role as a chosen one, if you stepped fully into your power, what kind of life would you create? What would your days look like if you believed, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are worthy of love, joy, and freedom? Remember, your healing is not just for you. It is your gift to the world. Every time you shine your light, you transform the darkness, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. You are rewriting your destiny, and in doing so, you're paving the way for others to do the same. Thank you for allowing me to share this journey with you. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel for more inspiring content. Together, let's continue to explore, heal, and grow as we step into the fullness of who we are meant to be. Your light matters. Never forget that. Beloved chosen ones, have you ever felt a deep stirring within your soul? A sense that your life is not ordinary? That your journey carries a profound weight beyond what the world can see? Perhaps your path has been marked by trials so painful they defy understanding, moments of loneliness so intense they feel unbearable, or victories so miraculous they leave you speechless. What if these events, both the bitter and the sweet, are not coincidences? What if they are divine markers, signs placed by God Himself to reveal your anointing and prepare you for an extraordinary purpose? Consider the story of Joseph. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and unjustly imprisoned, Joseph's life seemed irreparably broken. Yet behind the scenes, God was crafting a masterpiece. As we see in Genesis 37:18-36, Joseph's trials were not meant to destroy him, but to prepare him for a destiny so great it would save entire nations. Could it be that your struggles, too, are markers of divine preparation? In this message, we will uncover 5 extraordinary signs that prove you are among God's chosen ones, those set apart, powerfully anointed, and entrusted with a purpose far greater than you can imagine. These signs are not random. They are reserved for those whom God has called to rise above, walk in faith, and shine His light into the darkest places. If you felt this undeniable pull in your spirit, let it be known today. Type 999 in the comments as a declaration of your readiness to embrace your calling. And to those who support this mission of hope and truth, your generosity is deeply appreciated. Together, we are spreading light in a world longing for God's touch. Now let us journey together into this revelation. By the end of this message, you may recognize that your trials, victories, and even your solitude are divine indicators of your anointing. Let's explore these signs and uncover the profound purpose God has designed for you. Sign number 1. Unexplainable isolation. Have you ever felt deeply alone, as though you've been set apart from others in ways that you can't quite explain? Perhaps relationships you cherished have dissolved, and connections you once relied on have withered away. It feels as if no matter how much you long for closeness, you remain at a distance. But what if this isolation is not a curse but a divine calling? When God sets you apart, He often removes the distractions, habits, and people that no longer align with your purpose. Like Abraham, who was told, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you," you may find yourself leaving behind what is familiar to step into something extraordinary. This separation may manifest in 3 distinct ways: physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each serves a divine purpose in preparing you for the extraordinary calling God has placed on your life. Have you noticed that certain friendships, environments, or routines that once felt natural now seem out of place? Conversations that once brought joy now feel shallow or forced, and social circles that used to welcome you no longer resonate with your spirit. This isn't rejection, it's redirection. God is lovingly removing what no longer aligns with your destiny because He is leading you to higher places. Not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. Just as God called Abraham to leave his country, his people, and his father's household to follow him to an unknown land, you may find yourself being pulled away from the familiar to step into something greater. Trust that this physical separation is a part of God's plan to position you where you need to be. The loneliness you feel may be God's way of teaching you to depend on Him above all else. When human comfort falls short, He becomes your ultimate refuge. David expressed this truth in Psalm 27:10. "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." In this season of emotional solitude, God whispers truths about your identity. You are chosen, set apart, and loved beyond measure. He uses these moments to deepen your relationship with Him, building a foundation of trust and intimacy that cannot be shaken. In isolation, God often reveals His greatest plans. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before encountering God in the burning bush, where he received his divine assignment. Similarly, Jesus frequently withdrew to lonely places to pray and commune with the Father. Solitude is not a punishment, it is preparation. In these quiet moments, God molds you, strengthens you, and refines your character. He strips away distractions and impurities, creating space for His voice to be heard more clearly. This season of separation is a sacred process. It is where God prepares you to carry the weight of your calling and aligns you with His will. Though it may feel painful or confusing, trust that God is working all things together for your good. You are not being abandoned. You are being set apart for something extraordinary. Embrace this time of separation as God's loving way of equipping you for the incredible purpose He has in store for your life. Sign number 2. Constant opposition and unprovoked attacks. Have you ever felt as though the world was working against you, even when your heart was in the right place and your intentions were pure? Perhaps you've been misunderstood, criticized unfairly, or even sabotaged by those you trusted most. If this sounds familiar, take heart. This opposition is not a curse. It is confirmation of your anointing. When God places a powerful calling on your life, it stirs both the heavens and the enemy. Your light naturally disrupts the darkness, and your purpose poses a threat to forces that want to keep you from fulfilling it. Consider Joseph, a young man with dreams given by God. His brothers despised him, not because of anything he had done, but because of the destiny God had revealed to him. His anointing made him a target. Similarly, the enemy sees the potential God has placed within you and will do whatever it takes to derail you before you reach your destiny. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The opposition you face may seem personal, but it often has a deeper spiritual root. The enemy uses criticism, jealousy, and resistance to discourage and distract you. Yet opposition is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. Like gold refined in fire, trials strip away impurities, sharpen your character, and prepare you for the weight of your calling. James 1:2-4 encourages us, "Consider it pure joy, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Every challenge is an opportunity for growth, faith, and alignment with God's will. While the road may feel lonely and the battles fierce, know this: your opposition is proof of your purpose. Lean into God's strength, keep your eyes on the promise He has for you, and trust that every trial is refining you for the extraordinary destiny He has prepared. The enemy wouldn't fight so hard if you weren't chosen. Stand firm. Victory is ahead. Sign number 3. Unusual sensitivity to energy and environments. Do you often sense the emotional or spiritual atmosphere of a room before anyone speaks? Perhaps you walk into a space and immediately feel the tension, joy, or unease hanging in the air, even when others seem unaware. Do you find yourself deeply moved by the pain or joy of those around you, as if their emotions were your own? This heightened sensitivity is not a weakness or an accident. It is a divine gift, a spiritual compass bestowed upon you by God. This gift of discernment allows you to see beyond appearances, to hear the unspoken cries of the heart, and to perceive the hidden struggles others may carry. It mirrors Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well, where He discerned her unspoken needs and revealed truths that transformed her life. Similarly, your sensitivity enables you to connect deeply with others, offering empathy, wisdom, and healing in ways that can only come from God's guidance. This ability is also a call to action. Galatians 6:2 reminds us, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Your gift allows you to bear the emotional and spiritual burdens of others, becoming a vessel of God's love and compassion. While it can sometimes feel overwhelming, it is an opportunity to reflect Christ's heart by bringing comfort, understanding, and hope to those in need. To steward this gift well, seek God's wisdom and strength. Spend time in prayer, asking Him to guide your sensitivity and to protect your spirit from being weighed down. Remember, your sensitivity is not just for awareness. It is a divine tool to align you with God's will and to bring light to those who need it most. Embrace it as the blessing it is, trusting that God will equip you for the mission He has placed before you. Sign number 4. Repeated signs and synchronicities. Have you ever found yourself noticing repeated patterns, symbols, or so-called coincidences that feel too intentional to ignore? Perhaps it's seeing certain numbers like 1111 or 333 appear frequently on clocks, receipts, or even license plates. Maybe you've come across symbols such as feathers, butterflies, or rainbows at just the right moment, when you needed reassurance or hope. These are not random occurrences. They are divine messages from God, placed in your path to guide, comfort, and encourage you. God often communicates in subtle yet powerful ways, offering us gentle nudges to remind us of His presence. Just as Elijah heard God's voice not in the wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a still, small whisper, these signs are God's way of quietly speaking to your heart. They serve as a divine reassurance that He is walking with you, step by step, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. Have you ever experienced a divine appointment where you met someone or received a message at exactly the right time? Perhaps you were wrestling with a difficult decision or seeking clarity, and suddenly a conversation, a song lyric, or a passage in a book spoke directly to your spirit. These moments are not chance. They are orchestrated by God to confirm your path and provide the encouragement you need. Take a moment to reflect on these experiences. What was happening in your life when these signs appeared? Were they answers to prayers, reminders of God's love, or confirmations of your purpose? Trust that these patterns and encounters are intentional, a reflection of God's intricate care for your journey. Pay attention to these whispers and align your steps with the guidance they offer, for they are evidence of a loving God leading you forward with purpose and grace. Sign number 5. Divine favor and unexplainable breakthroughs. Have you ever encountered moments so perfectly timed that they left you in awe? Doors opening where there seemed to be no way, or resources arriving just when you were at the end of your rope? These are not coincidences, but divine appointments, moments where God's favor is unmistakably at work in your life. Consider the story of Joseph, whose life was a series of unexpected turns. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned, Joseph seemed destined for despair. Yet, in each of these hardships, God's hand was at work. From managing Potiphar's household to interpreting dreams in prison, Joseph's faithfulness was met with divine favor. Ultimately, God elevated him from the darkness of a prison cell to the brilliance of Pharaoh's court, placing him as second in command over all of Egypt. What others intended for harm, God used for good, not only to save Joseph but to preserve entire nations during a devastating famine. The same God who parted the Red Sea for the Israelites, creating a path where none existed, is still making a way today. Whether it's a miraculous financial provision, a sudden healing, or an opportunity you never imagined, God's favor moves in ways that defy human logic. These breakthroughs remind us of His limitless power and unwavering faithfulness. In moments where the impossible becomes possible, pause to recognize God's hand. Trust that these divine blessings are not random. They are His way of positioning you for something greater. Embrace these opportunities with gratitude and humility, knowing that God's favor is a sign of His love and His perfect plan unfolding in your life. Keep your faith strong, for the best is yet to come. Beloved, if these signs resonate with you, know this: you are not walking an ordinary path. You are chosen, set apart, and powerfully anointed for a purpose far greater than you can imagine. Your trials, victories, and even your solitude are all part of God's divine plan to prepare you for your destiny. As you step forward in faith, remember: the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Are you ready to embrace your calling? Let us know in the comments how God has been speaking to you, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue spreading this message of hope and truth. You are not alone. God is with you. Be blessed, stay strong, and walk boldly in faith. They tested your blood. Yes, you heard that right. They examined it in their laboratories, questioned it, and tried to comprehend the incredible power coursing through your veins. But the results left them in shock, and you in triumph. The truth? You are not ordinary. You are chosen. This energy within you, this divine force, is destined to change the world. They cannot stop your ascension because you exist beyond their understanding. Are you ready to embrace this truth? If so, let your voice be heard. Write 77 in the comments to declare your power and your chosenness. Remember, this is only the beginning. For too long, they believed they could shape your world, manipulate your reality, and define your worth. But now, the truth is dawning on them. Their supposed strength was nothing more than a shadow cast by your light, a borrowed confidence masking their dependence on you. Without your energy, their fragile house of cards collapses, leaving them scrambling in the ruins of their own illusions. The fragility of borrowed strength. Those who once sought control over you often wore the guise of strength and charm, projecting an image of confidence and authority. Their demeanor was carefully curated to inspire trust, portraying them as steadfast and reliable. Yet beneath this polished exterior lay a fragile ego, desperate for validation, a need they cunningly sought to fulfill through you. They were masters of subtle manipulation, planting seeds of self-doubt during your most vulnerable moments. Their calculated words twisted reality, reframing their domination as care, their interference as concern, and their silence as punishment, cultivating a cycle of emotional dependence that left you questioning your own worth. These individuals thrived in environments where harmony was valued over confrontation, exploiting your empathy and kindness as tools to maintain their control. They knew the language of guilt and gratitude, wielding it to secure their position. Each act of giving on your part was met with a carefully constructed response designed to keep you unaware of the power imbalance. They became the constant takers, feeding on your willingness to sacrifice, while ensuring you remained blind to their true intentions. But every cycle has its breaking point. The moment you chose to reclaim your narrative, the cracks in their control began to show. Perhaps it was a single quiet act, a firm boundary drawn where there had been none, a refusal to bend to their expectations, or an unapologetic decision to prioritize your well-being. That seemingly small step set off a chain reaction that unraveled their carefully constructed facade. The illusion of their strength, so dependent on your acquiescence, began to crumble. With each act of self-assertion, the equilibrium they relied upon tipped irreversibly out of their favor. The foundation of their dominance, built on your energy and compliance, started to falter. Suddenly, the rules of their game no longer applied. The power dynamic shifted, exposing the fragility they had long hidden behind their confident exterior. What they once took for granted, the quiet support, the endless understanding, the unspoken sacrifices, was no longer theirs to control. Your decision to prioritize yourself was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration of worth. It was a reclamation of your energy and autonomy, a statement that you would no longer be a passive participant in a narrative they dictated. As their influence waned, they were forced to confront a reality they had long avoided. Their strength was never their own, and without you, the carefully balanced facade they had constructed could not stand. Their loss was profound, but it was theirs alone to bear, a consequence of their choices. For you, it was the beginning of freedom, growth, and self-discovery, a transformation they could no longer contain. The power of walking away. Walking away is not just an act of defiance. It is a transformative declaration of independence, a profound moment of reclaiming your narrative and stepping into your power. It signifies the recognition of your inherent worth, a worth that was never theirs to define or diminish. By choosing to leave, you break free from the constraints they carefully crafted, unshackling yourself from the emotional chains they used to maintain their dominance. It is an assertion of a power they worked tirelessly to keep you unaware of, a light they sought to dim to protect their fragile illusions of control. For those who sought to hold you back, this moment is a reckoning. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, now consumes them. They are forced to confront the undeniable truth that their world revolved around a star they thought they could manipulate. You. They thrived on your energy, your strength, and your unwavering presence. Your compassion, which they dismissed as weakness, was in reality the foundation of their stability. Your patience, which they mistook for compliance, was a testament to your resilience and grace. Now, without you, their carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. The strength they projected to the world was never truly their own. It was borrowed, sustained by the unwavering light you provided. Stripped of your support, the cracks in their false confidence grow deeper, revealing the hollow core beneath. They are left grappling with a harsh reality they long denied, that their control was never real, merely an illusion built on the foundation of your sacrifice and energy. This realization is haunting for them. They must now face the void left by your absence, a chasm that cannot be filled by their own means. What they once mistook for their own radiance was nothing more than a reflection of your inner fire. They underestimated you at every turn, failing to see the immense strength within you. Their regret stems not only from losing you, but from recognizing how profoundly they misunderstood your worth. What they thought was control, a dynamic where they believed themselves to be the orchestrators of your life, was, in truth, an imbalance sustained by your generosity and your unwillingness to confront their manipulations. Now, the illusion has been shattered. the truth stands undeniable. Your power, compassion, and patience were the forces that held their world together. In walking away, you have not only liberated yourself, but also sent a powerful message. You have shown them, and the world, that true strength cannot be borrowed, stolen, or subdued. It comes from within, from the courage to rise above manipulation and choose yourself. And now, as they wrestle with the consequences of their actions, you move forward, unbound and radiant, a testament to the unyielding force of self-worth and independence. The phoenix rises. You are like a phoenix, rising majestically from the ashes of manipulation and control, transformed and triumphant. Where once they sought to dim your light and anchor you to their narrative, you now soar unbound, unapologetic, and undeniably strong. You have stepped into a future shaped by your resilience and courage, leaving behind the chains of their control. No longer tethered to their expectations or manipulations, your path is one of growth, healing, and self-discovery, a radiant proclamation of your worth and potential. The energy they once siphoned from you, the very life force they relied upon to maintain their illusion of power, has been reclaimed. It now fuels your purpose, driving you toward a life of abundance, peace, and fulfillment. Every step forward is a testament to the strength you always possessed, a strength they sought to control, but never truly understood. You have turned the pain they caused into a source of inspiration, the doubts they planted into a foundation of self-belief, and the limitations they imposed into a boundless horizon of possibilities. Their regret, raw and relentless, is not yours to bear. It is the natural consequence of their own choices, a reckoning they must face alone. You owe them nothing, no explanation, no solace, no place in the future you are building. Their loss is not just your absence, it is the loss of the energy, compassion, and strength you once gave so freely. As you rise, their world unravels, and they are forced to confront the stark reality of their own inadequacies. What they once projected as strength and control was, in truth, a fragile facade upheld by your light. Now, that facade has withered, leaving them to navigate the emptiness they created. Stripped of the support they took for granted, they must grapple with the painful truth. Their identity, their confidence, their very sense of stability were all built on what you provided. Without you, the foundation they so carefully constructed crumbles, revealing vulnerabilities they worked tirelessly to conceal. Their borrowed strength is gone, and they are left with nothing but the void they tried to deny. Your departure has become a mirror reflecting their shortcomings, a spotlight illuminating the flaws in their carefully curated image. But their regret, while profound, is not your responsibility. It is their burden to carry, their lesson to learn. As they remain tethered to the remnants of the past, you move forward, empowered and unencumbered. You have reclaimed your narrative and become the author of your destiny. Like the phoenix, you have turned destruction into renewal, rising brighter and stronger than before. You are a testament to the unyielding power of self-worth, and your transformation is not just a personal victory. It is an inspiration to others who long to break free. You are living proof that true strength lies in choosing yourself, in letting go of what no longer serves you, and in embracing the boundless possibilities of a life lived on your own terms. A reckoning for the manipulators. For those who sought to dominate you, this moment marks their reckoning. Their carefully constructed facade of control has shattered, and the truth they fought so hard to avoid now stands before them in stark clarity. They can no longer deny that their identity, their confidence, and their sense of authority were never truly their own. All along, it was pieced together from the energy you so selflessly provided. What they believed was strength was, in reality, a fragile construct built on the foundation of your light, your compassion, and your resilience. Like a house built on shifting sands, their false confidence has crumbled, leaving them to confront the void that has always existed within. This collapse lays bare the fragility of their supposed power, a power they wielded with desperation disguised as control. They orchestrated a facade to keep you under their influence, but it was you who anchored their sense of stability and worth. Without your presence, without the energy they extracted from you, their carefully curated image of dominance can no longer stand. Now, they find themselves trapped in the haunting awareness of their failure. It is not merely the loss of you that haunts them, though that loss is profound. It is the realization that they squandered the potential they once held in their hands. They had access to your strength, your support, and your boundless ability to uplift, and instead of nurturing that connection, they chose to manipulate and control. In their attempts to diminish you, they failed to recognize the very foundation of their own existence was rooted in the strength they sought to suppress. This reckoning forces them to face a brutal truth. Their inability to grow has left them stagnant, even as you rise far beyond their grasp. While you have embraced transformation and liberation, they remain chained to the remnants of their own insecurities. The gap between your ascent and their stagnation grows wider with each step you take toward your authentic self. Their failure is not just in losing your presence, but in failing to evolve. They now see the opportunities they forfeited, the trust they betrayed, and the strength they undervalued. What they once dismissed as your vulnerability was, in truth, the power that sustained them. Now, with that power reclaimed, they are left to navigate the desolation of a life without the energy and support they so recklessly relied upon. As they are forced to confront their shortcomings, you continue to rise. Your journey of self-discovery and empowerment shines as a beacon, a reminder that growth is always possible, but only for those willing to face their own flaws and limitations. Their reckoning is a consequence of their choices, a mirror reflecting the emptiness they worked so hard to conceal. And as they remain bound to the past, you soar into a future of freedom, purpose, and unyielding strength. Your transformation. A light for others. Your journey is a profound testament to resilience and self-discovery, a living narrative of the strength it takes to reclaim your energy and transform your life. You've taken the fragments of yourself that others sought to control and turned them into a masterpiece of purpose and empowerment. By redirecting your energy toward your own growth and healing, you've created a sanctuary for your soul, a sacred space where your authenticity thrives and your spirit is free to soar. This transformation is more than personal triumph. It is a call to others who find themselves bound by the chains of toxic relationships and manipulative dynamics. Your story shines like a beacon in the darkness, illuminating a path of hope for those who feel trapped. You've shown that liberation is not only possible but inevitable when one chooses to prioritize self-worth and authenticity. By sharing your journey, you inspire others to rise, to reclaim their own narratives, and to break free from the constraints of those who seek to diminish them. As you ascend, the relationships in your life transform as well. No longer tethered to connections that drain and deplete, you now attract bonds built on mutual respect, trust, and shared growth. The energy that was once stolen or squandered on manipulative influences is now directed toward nurturing relationships that uplift and empower you. These connections are a reflection of your evolution, a testament to the boundaries you've established and the standards you now uphold. In your newfound clarity, you've embraced the limitless possibilities of a life unbound by manipulation and control. You have proven that true connection comes from reciprocity, from relationships that honor and celebrate your growth rather than fear it. Each step forward reinforces your independence and reveals the beauty of living in alignment with your true self. Your journey also serves as a profound reminder to others. There is power in choosing yourself. There is strength in letting go of what no longer serves you, in saying no to relationships that demand you shrink, and in creating a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Through your transformation, you demonstrate that healing and growth are not only attainable but deeply fulfilling. This is your time to thrive, to live unencumbered by the expectations or manipulations of others. As you continue to rise, your light grows ever brighter, drawing in those who resonate with your energy and repelling those who seek only to take. Your story becomes a symbol of possibility, a testament to the unyielding power of self-discovery and an invitation for others to step into their own strength. By choosing yourself, you've not only transformed your life, you've inspired countless others to do the same. The weight of regret. For them, regret has become an unbearable burden, a constant shadow that refuses to lift. Every manipulation they once executed with precision now returns to them, its sting amplified by the stark clarity of hindsight. The cold silences they wielded as weapons, the subtle power plays they thought went unnoticed, and the calculated words meant to undermine your confidence, all of these now echo with a hollow resonance. The realization of what they've lost grows heavier with each passing moment. The world they once saw as thriving and under their control has become a barren wasteland, devoid of the vitality and light that your presence brought into their lives. Without you, they stumble through the ruins of their own making, fumbling in the darkness they created. Haunted by their failures, they are forced to confront a reflection they worked so hard to avoid. What stares back at them is not just the loss of your presence, but the undeniable truth of their own shortcomings. The energy they once took for granted, the compassion they mistook for weakness, and the patience they exploited were not infinite resources. These were gifts you gave freely, not because you had to, but because of your strength and capacity for love. Now stripped of those gifts, they are left with the emptiness they refuse to acknowledge. Their downfall is not a sudden collapse but a slow unraveling, a painful exposure of the fragile foundation upon which their supposed power was built. They must now wrestle with the truth they tried so desperately to deny. Control founded on another's strength is always destined to fail, but their downfall is not your responsibility. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, is a consequence of their choices, a lesson they must learn on their own. The pain they feel is not yours to soothe, nor is it your burden to carry. It is a mirror they must face alone, one that reflects the cracks in their character and the void in their own hearts. This reckoning is not about revenge or vindication. It is simply the natural order of things. You have stepped into your power, reclaimed your energy, and chosen a path of growth and authenticity. Their inability to grow alongside you was their own decision, and the regret they now feel is theirs alone to endure. For you, this moment is a release, a shedding of the weight they once imposed upon you. It is a reminder that your worth is not tied to their validation, and your strength is not diminished by their failures. While they grapple with their loss, you continue to rise, unshackled, unapologetic, and unyielding. Their regret is the echo of their own actions, a testament to the truth that they alone must face. And as they linger in the shadows of what could have been, you walk boldly into the light of what is yet to come, a future defined entirely by your own strength and vision. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your time to shine. You are chosen, imbued with divine strength and purpose. The Bible reminds us in Luke 6:38 that whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Your journey is grounded in this truth. Each step you take is a testament to God's divine plan for your life. Now, as you step into your power, consider sharing God's blessings with the world. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute to His mission. With your generosity, you help spread His love and grace, touching countless lives. Your life is no longer defined by the expectations of others. You've broken free, and now your light shines brighter than ever. You've shown the world that true power comes from within, from choosing yourself, and from embracing your God-given purpose. Your story is a testament to the limitless potential of a life lived in authenticity and faith. May you continue to rise, illuminating the path for others as they seek their own freedom. Remember, you are chosen, and this is only the beginning. Let your light shine for the world to see. They tested your blood. Yes, you heard that right. They examined it in their laboratories, questioned it, and tried to comprehend the incredible power coursing through your veins. But the results left them in shock, and you in triumph. The truth? You are not ordinary. You are chosen. This energy within you, this divine force, is destined to change the world. They cannot stop your ascension because you exist beyond their understanding. Are you ready to embrace this truth? If so, let your voice be heard. Write 77 in the comments to declare your power and your chosenness. Remember, this is only the beginning. For too long, they believed they could shape your world, manipulate your reality, and define your worth. But now, the truth is dawning on them. Their supposed strength was nothing more than a shadow cast by your light, a borrowed confidence masking their dependence on you. Without your energy, their fragile house of cards collapses, leaving them scrambling in the ruins of their own illusions. The fragility of borrowed strength. Those who once sought control over you often wore the guise of strength and charm, projecting an image of confidence and authority. Their demeanor was carefully curated to inspire trust, portraying them as steadfast and reliable. Yet beneath this polished exterior lay a fragile ego, desperate for validation, a need they cunningly sought to fulfill through you. They were masters of subtle manipulation, planting seeds of self-doubt during your most vulnerable moments. Their calculated words twisted reality, reframing their domination as care, their interference as concern, and their silence as punishment, cultivating a cycle of emotional dependence that left you questioning your own worth. These individuals thrived in environments where harmony was valued over confrontation, exploiting your empathy and kindness as tools to maintain their control. They knew the language of guilt and gratitude, wielding it to secure their position. Each act of giving on your part was met with a carefully constructed response designed to keep you unaware of the power imbalance. They became the constant takers, feeding on your willingness to sacrifice, while ensuring you remained blind to their true intentions. But every cycle has its breaking point. The moment you chose to reclaim your narrative, the cracks in their control began to show. Perhaps it was a single quiet act, a firm boundary drawn where there had been none, a refusal to bend to their expectations, or an unapologetic decision to prioritize your well-being. That seemingly small step set off a chain reaction that unraveled their carefully constructed facade. The illusion of their strength, so dependent on your acquiescence, began to crumble. With each act of self-assertion, the equilibrium they relied upon tipped irreversibly out of their favor. The foundation of their dominance, built on your energy and compliance, started to falter. Suddenly, the rules of their game no longer applied. The power dynamic shifted, exposing the fragility they had long hidden behind their confident exterior. What they once took for granted, the quiet support, the endless understanding, the unspoken sacrifices, was no longer theirs to control. Your decision to prioritize yourself was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration of worth. It was a reclamation of your energy and autonomy, a statement that you would no longer be a passive participant in a narrative they dictated. As their influence waned, they were forced to confront a reality they had long avoided. Their strength was never their own, and without you, the carefully balanced facade they had constructed could not stand. Their loss was profound, but it was theirs alone to bear, a consequence of their choices. For you, it was the beginning of freedom, growth, and self-discovery, a transformation they could no longer contain. The power of walking away. Walking away is not just an act of defiance. It is a transformative declaration of independence, a profound moment of reclaiming your narrative and stepping into your power. It signifies the recognition of your inherent worth, a worth that was never theirs to define or diminish. By choosing to leave, you break free from the constraints they carefully crafted, unshackling yourself from the emotional chains they used to maintain their dominance. It is an assertion of a power they worked tirelessly to keep you unaware of, a light they sought to dim to protect their fragile illusions of control. For those who sought to hold you back, this moment is a reckoning. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, now consumes them. They are forced to confront the undeniable truth that their world revolved around a star they thought they could manipulate. You. They thrived on your energy, your strength, and your unwavering presence. Your compassion, which they dismissed as weakness, was in reality the foundation of their stability. Your patience, which they mistook for compliance, was a testament to your resilience and grace. Now, without you, their carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. The strength they projected to the world was never truly their own. It was borrowed, sustained by the unwavering light you provided. Stripped of your support, the cracks in their false confidence grow deeper, revealing the hollow core beneath. They are left grappling with a harsh reality they long denied, that their control was never real, merely an illusion built on the foundation of your sacrifice and energy. This realization is haunting for them. They must now face the void left by your absence, a chasm that cannot be filled by their own means. What they once mistook for their own radiance was nothing more than a reflection of your inner fire. They underestimated you at every turn, failing to see the immense strength within you. Their regret stems not only from losing you, but from recognizing how profoundly they misunderstood your worth. What they thought was control, a dynamic where they believed themselves to be the orchestrators of your life, was, in truth, an imbalance sustained by your generosity and your unwillingness to confront their manipulations. Now, the illusion has been shattered. The truth stands undeniable. Your power, compassion, and patience were the forces that held their world together. In walking away, you have not only liberated yourself, but also sent a powerful message. You have shown them, and the world, that true strength cannot be borrowed, stolen, or subdued. It comes from within, from the courage to rise above manipulation and choose yourself. And now, as they wrestle with the consequences of their actions, you move forward, unbound and radiant, a testament to the unyielding force of self-worth and independence. The phoenix rises. You are like a phoenix, rising majestically from the ashes of manipulation and control, transformed and triumphant. Where once they sought to dim your light and anchor you to their narrative, you now soar unbound, unapologetic, and undeniably strong. You have stepped into a future shaped by your resilience and courage, leaving behind the chains of their control. No longer tethered to their expectations or manipulations, your path is one of growth, healing, and self-discovery, a radiant proclamation of your worth and potential. The energy they once siphoned from you, the very life force they relied upon to maintain their illusion of power, has been reclaimed. It now fuels your purpose, driving you toward a life of abundance, peace, and fulfillment. Every step forward is a testament to the strength you always possessed, a strength they sought to control, but never truly understood. You have turned the pain they caused into a source of inspiration, the doubts they planted into a foundation of self-belief, and the limitations they imposed into a boundless horizon of possibilities. Their regret, raw and relentless, is not yours to bear. It is the natural consequence of their own choices, a reckoning they must face alone. You owe them nothing, no explanation, no solace, no place in the future you are building. Their loss is not just your absence, it is the loss of the energy, compassion, and strength you once gave so freely. As you rise, their world unravels, and they are forced to confront the stark reality of their own inadequacies. What they once projected as strength and control was, in truth, a fragile facade upheld by your light. Now, that facade has withered, leaving them to navigate the emptiness they created. Stripped of the support they took for granted, they must grapple with the painful truth. Their identity, their confidence, their very sense of stability were all built on what you provided. Without you, the foundation they so carefully constructed crumbles, revealing vulnerabilities they worked tirelessly to conceal. Their borrowed strength is gone, and they are left with nothing but the void they tried to deny. Your departure has become a mirror reflecting their shortcomings, a spotlight illuminating the flaws in their carefully curated image. But their regret, while profound, is not your responsibility. It is their burden to carry, their lesson to learn. As they remain tethered to the remnants of the past, you move forward, empowered and unencumbered. You have reclaimed your narrative and become the author of your destiny. Like the phoenix, you have turned destruction into renewal, rising brighter and stronger than before. You are a testament to the unyielding power of self-worth, and your transformation is not just a personal victory. It is an inspiration to others who long to break free. You are living proof that true strength lies in choosing yourself, in letting go of what no longer serves you, and in embracing the boundless possibilities of a life lived on your own terms. A reckoning for the manipulators. For those who sought to dominate you, this moment marks their reckoning. Their carefully constructed facade of control has shattered, and the truth they fought so hard to avoid now stands before them in stark clarity. They can no longer deny that their identity, their confidence, and their sense of authority were never truly their own. All along, it was pieced together from the energy you so selflessly provided. What they believed was strength was, in reality, a fragile construct built on the foundation of your light, your compassion, and your resilience. Like a house built on shifting sands, their false confidence has crumbled, leaving them to confront the void that has always existed within. This collapse lays bare the fragility of their supposed power, a power they wielded with desperation disguised as control. They orchestrated a facade to keep you under their influence, but it was you who anchored their sense of stability and worth. Without your presence, without the energy they extracted from you, their carefully curated image of dominance can no longer stand. Now, they find themselves trapped in the haunting awareness of their failure. It is not merely the loss of you that haunts them, though that loss is profound. It is the realization that they squandered the potential they once held in their hands. They had access to your strength, your support, and your boundless ability to uplift, and instead of nurturing that connection, they chose to manipulate and control. In their attempts to diminish you, they failed to recognize the very foundation of their own existence was rooted in the strength they sought to suppress. This reckoning forces them to face a brutal truth. Their inability to grow has left them stagnant, even as you rise far beyond their grasp. While you have embraced transformation and liberation, they remain chained to the remnants of their own insecurities. The gap between your ascent and their stagnation grows wider with each step you take toward your authentic self. Their failure is not just in losing your presence, but in failing to evolve. They now see the opportunities they forfeited, the trust they betrayed, and the strength they undervalued. What they once dismissed as your vulnerability was, in truth, the power that sustained them. Now, with that power reclaimed, they are left to navigate the desolation of a life without the energy and support they so recklessly relied upon. As they are forced to confront their shortcomings, you continue to rise. Your journey of self-discovery and empowerment shines as a beacon, a reminder that growth is always possible, but only for those willing to face their own flaws and limitations. Their reckoning is a consequence of their choices, a mirror reflecting the emptiness they worked so hard to conceal. And as they remain bound to the past, you soar into a future of freedom, purpose, and unyielding strength. Your transformation. A light for others. Your journey is a profound testament to resilience and self-discovery, a living narrative of the strength it takes to reclaim your energy and transform your life. You've taken the fragments of yourself that others sought to control and turned them into a masterpiece of purpose and empowerment. By redirecting your energy toward your own growth and healing, you've created a sanctuary for your soul, a sacred space where your authenticity thrives and your spirit is free to soar. This transformation is more than personal triumph. It is a call to others who find themselves bound by the chains of toxic relationships and manipulative dynamics. Your story shines like a beacon in the darkness, illuminating a path of hope for those who feel trapped. You've shown that liberation is not only possible but inevitable when one chooses to prioritize self-worth and authenticity. By sharing your journey, you inspire others to rise, to reclaim their own narratives, and to break free from the constraints of those who seek to diminish them. As you ascend, the relationships in your life transform as well. No longer tethered to connections that drain and deplete, you now attract bonds built on mutual respect, trust, and shared growth. The energy that was once stolen or squandered on manipulative influences is now directed toward nurturing relationships that uplift and empower you. These connections are a reflection of your evolution, a testament to the boundaries you've established and the standards you now uphold. In your newfound clarity, you've embraced the limitless possibilities of a life unbound by manipulation and control. You have proven that true connection comes from reciprocity, from relationships that honor and celebrate your growth rather than fear it. Each step forward reinforces your independence and reveals the beauty of living in alignment with your true self. Your journey also serves as a profound reminder to others. There is power in choosing yourself. There is strength in letting go of what no longer serves you, in saying no to relationships that demand you shrink, and in creating a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Through your transformation, you demonstrate that healing and growth are not only attainable but deeply fulfilling. This is your time to thrive, to live unencumbered by the expectations or manipulations of others. As you continue to rise, your light grows ever brighter, drawing in those who resonate with your energy and repelling those who seek only to take. Your story becomes a symbol of possibility, a testament to the unyielding power of self-discovery, and an invitation for others to step into their own strength. By choosing yourself, you've not only transformed your life, you've inspired countless others to do the same. The weight of regret. For them, regret has become an unbearable burden, a constant shadow that refuses to lift. Every manipulation they once executed with precision now returns to them, its sting amplified by the stark clarity of hindsight. The cold silences they wielded as weapons, the subtle power plays they thought went unnoticed, and the calculated words meant to undermine your confidence, all of these now echo with a hollow resonance. The realization of what they've lost grows heavier with each passing moment. The world they once saw as thriving and under their control has become a barren wasteland, devoid of the vitality and light that your presence brought into their lives. Without you, they stumble through the ruins of their own making, fumbling in the darkness they created. Haunted by their failures, they are forced to confront a reflection they worked so hard to avoid. What stares back at them is not just the loss of your presence, but the undeniable truth of their own shortcomings. The energy they once took for granted, the compassion they mistook for weakness, and the patience they exploited were not infinite resources. These were gifts you gave freely, not because you had to, but because of your strength and capacity for love. Now stripped of those gifts, they are left with the emptiness they refuse to acknowledge. Their downfall is not a sudden collapse but a slow unraveling, a painful exposure of the fragile foundation upon which their supposed power was built. They must now wrestle with the truth they tried so desperately to deny. Control founded on another's strength is always destined to fail, but their downfall is not your responsibility. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, is a consequence of their choices, a lesson they must learn on their own. The pain they feel is not yours to soothe, nor is it your burden to carry. It is a mirror they must face alone, one that reflects the cracks in their character and the void in their own hearts. This reckoning is not about revenge or vindication. It is simply the natural order of things. You have stepped into your power, reclaimed your energy, and chosen a path of growth and authenticity. Their inability to grow alongside you was their own decision, and the regret they now feel is theirs alone to endure. For you, this moment is a release, a shedding of the weight they once imposed upon you. It is a reminder that your worth is not tied to their validation, and your strength is not diminished by their failures. While they grapple with their loss, you continue to rise, unshackled, unapologetic, and unyielding. Their regret is the echo of their own actions, a testament to the truth that they alone must face. And as they linger in the shadows of what could have been, you walk boldly into the light of what is yet to come, a future defined entirely by your own strength and vision. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your time to shine. You are chosen, imbued with divine strength and purpose. The Bible reminds us in Luke 6:38 that whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Your journey is grounded in this truth. Each step you take is a testament to God's divine plan for your life. Now, as you step into your power, consider sharing God's blessings with the world. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute to His mission. With your generosity, you help spread His love and grace, touching countless lives. Your life is no longer defined by the expectations of others. You've broken free, and now your light shines brighter than ever. You've shown the world that true power comes from within, from choosing yourself, and from embracing your God-given purpose. Your story is a testament to the limitless potential of a life lived in authenticity and faith. May you continue to rise, illuminating the path for others as they seek their own freedom. Remember, you are chosen, and this is only the beginning. Let your light shine for the world to see. Chosen ones, imagine yourself standing at the threshold of an extraordinary journey. Before you lies an uncharted path, one you may feel uncertain about but cannot ignore. Deep within your soul, you sense a calling, a divine whisper echoing through your spirit, urging you forward. Have you felt it before? That subtle yet relentless voice that reminds you, you were made for more. It stirs within you, assuring you that every trial, every tear, every restless night has been preparing you for something far greater than you could ever imagine. This moment, this message, is no accident. If you're here, it's because God has brought you to this very place for a reason. You are chosen, handpicked by the Creator of the universe to fulfill a purpose unique to you. Even if your journey has been fraught with difficulty, know this: you were never alone. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every unanswered question was shaping you, refining you for the destiny God has set before you. Today, let this message be your confirmation. Your breakthrough is near. The God who watches over you, the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps, is making a way through the wilderness of your life, preparing rivers to flow in your desert. For anyone who feels burdened by heartache, weighed down by discouragement, or weary from life's endless challenges, take heart, there is hope. Jesus has not forgotten you. He sees your pain, hears your cries, and understands the depths of your soul. He knows the weight you carry, the silent tears, the restless nights, and the moments when you've wondered if anyone truly sees the struggle within. But here's the truth. God doesn't just see your pain. He is working through it. Every trial, every disappointment, and every unanswered prayer is part of a larger plan. He is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for a future filled with divine purpose. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The same God who watched over Israel, guiding them through deserts and parting seas, is watching over you. He is your protector, your provider, and your ever-present help in times of trouble. While it may feel like He is silent, God is tirelessly working behind the scenes, aligning events, preparing breakthroughs, and orchestrating blessings that will far exceed your imagination. His love for you is unrelenting, and His plans for you are good. This January, as we step into the new year of 2025, prepare your heart and spirit for a remarkable shift. A transformation is on the horizon, one so profound that it will redefine the course of your life. God is moving in ways only He can, unlocking doors that no one can close and unveiling opportunities crafted uniquely for you. These moments are not mere coincidences. They are divine appointments orchestrated by the Creator to guide you into the fullness of your purpose. Embrace this season with faith, for it marks the beginning of something extraordinary. This is your season to rise, to step out of the shadows and into the light of God's favor. He is elevating you, setting you apart to be a beacon of hope and encouragement to those around you. Even in your struggles, He is equipping you to inspire others, to reflect His love, and to carry His light into dark places. Trust that this season is not just about enduring, but about thriving. God is about to breathe new life into your circumstances. He is turning your sorrow into joy, your ashes into beauty, and your mourning into dancing. The journey may not always be easy, but the one who keeps you never grows weary. He walks with you every step of the way, holding you steady when the road gets rough. So, take heart and stand firm in faith. Your breakthrough is near. What you've been praying for, longing for, and trusting God for is closer than you think. With God on your side, this is your time to see His promises unfold. Be ready to embrace the blessings He has prepared for you. A new season is upon you, a season of unexpected favor, unstoppable opportunities, and undeniable transformation. Let's take a moment to reflect deeply on this profound promise from Scripture. Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too difficult for me? Pause and consider those words. Do you believe them? Do you truly trust that the God who spoke the stars into existence, who commands the winds and waves, who has no limit to His power or wisdom, is more than able to handle the challenges you're facing? Every difficulty in your life, every mountain that seems too high to climb, is an opportunity for God to reveal His strength and demonstrate His glory. When you're weighed down by problems that seem insurmountable, remember this: nothing is too hard for God. Not the pain you've endured, not the setbacks you've experienced, not even the doubts that creep into your heart. He sees it all, and He is actively working through it to bring about something greater than you can imagine. But behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. This promise from Isaiah reminds us of God's creative and restorative power. When life feels barren, like a desert with no hope in sight, God is already at work making a way. He specializes in the impossible, in turning lifeless situations into streams of abundance, in bringing light to the darkest moments. You may not see the changes immediately, but trust that God is moving in the unseen realm, aligning circumstances, preparing hearts, and setting the stage for your breakthrough. His ways often defy human understanding. He doesn't just remove obstacles, He transforms them into stepping stones for your growth and purpose. That delay you're experiencing? It might be His way of refining your character. That closed door? It could be His protection from something not meant for you. God's plans are not just good, they are perfect, designed with your ultimate blessing and His glory in mind. So trust in His timing, even when it doesn't align with your own. Rest in the assurance that He is faithful to His promises. When you feel weary, let this truth anchor your soul. God is a God who specializes in the impossible. Take heart, chosen one. Even now, He is leveling mountains and opening doors you cannot see. The wilderness you are walking through today will one day be a testimony of His power and provision. Trust Him. For the same God who created the heavens and the earth is crafting a masterpiece in your life. Hold on to faith and watch as He turns the impossible into reality. Throughout the Bible, we encounter countless examples of God's faithfulness, stories that remind us of His power, His mercy, and His unwavering commitment to those who trust Him. Let's begin with Moses, a man who doubted his ability to fulfill the extraordinary calling placed on his life. When God called Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses hesitated. He felt unqualified, pointing out his lack of eloquence and questioning whether he was the right person for such a monumental task. But God reassured him, saying, "I will be with you." It wasn't Moses' skill or strength that mattered. It was his willingness to obey. Through Moses' obedience, we see the might of God displayed in unimaginable ways. The parting of the Red Sea allowed an entire nation to escape slavery, walking on dry ground as their enemies were swept away. In the wilderness, God provided manna from heaven to feed His people and brought water from a rock to quench their thirst. These miracles are a testament to the truth that when we step out in faith, God shows up in ways that surpass human understanding. Like Moses, You may feel unprepared for what lies ahead, but know this: God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Now consider Job, a man whose story demonstrates resilience and unwavering faith in the face of profound suffering. Job's life was shattered as he lost everything: his wealth, his health, and even his beloved children. Yet despite his immense grief and unanswered questions, Job held fast to his belief that God was sovereign. He declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." Job's trust in God did not go unrewarded. After enduring his trials with steadfast faith, God restored Job's fortunes, blessing him with twice as much as he had before. His story reminds us that suffering, while painful, is never meaningless. God uses it to refine us, to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for greater blessings. And then there's Rahab, whose story is a powerful illustration of redemption and purpose. As a woman living in Jericho, Rahab's past might have disqualified her in the eyes of others, but not in God's. When she chose to place her faith in the God of Israel, she risked her life to protect the Israelite spies, trusting that He would deliver her and her family. Not only was Rahab saved, but she was also given a place of honor in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Her life demonstrates that no one is beyond the reach of God's grace. These stories, though separated by time and circumstance, share a common truth. God is always at work, even in the most challenging moments. He transforms trials into triumphs, pain into purpose, and brokenness into beauty. Like Moses, Job, and Rahab, trust that God is with you, crafting a story of redemption and victory that will glorify Him and bless you abundantly. Prayer is one of the most profound gifts we've been given, a direct and intimate connection to the heart of God. It's through prayer that we enter into His presence, laying our burdens at His feet and inviting His peace to fill the deepest corners of our lives. In prayer, we are reminded that we are not alone. The Creator of the universe is listening to every word, every whisper, and every unspoken cry of our hearts. Rejoice always. Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. This verse calls us to live a life anchored in prayer, a life where rejoicing, constant communication with God, and gratitude in every season become second nature. When the storms of life leave us feeling lost or overwhelmed, prayer becomes the lifeline that steadies us. In the stillness of prayer, God meets us with clarity, strength, and reassurance, reminding us of His promises and His power to carry us through every challenge. Prayer isn't just about asking for help. It's about building a relationship with God. It's a sacred exchange where we pour out our hearts and, in turn, receive His guidance, wisdom, and love. It's in those quiet, intentional moments that we begin to align our desires with His will, finding peace in knowing that He is in control. Whether we are rejoicing in victory or wrestling in sorrow, prayer centers us in the truth of who God is, faithful, loving, and unchanging. But just as prayer is essential, so is community. God never intended for us to navigate life alone. From the very beginning, He designed us for connection, to share our burdens, to celebrate our joys, and to encourage one another in love and faith. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. Community is where faith grows stronger. Surround yourself with people who will uplift you, pray with you, and remind you of God's truth when your spirit feels weak. A Christ-centered community becomes a safe haven where you can find support during trials and celebration in victories. Together, you reflect the love of Jesus, inspiring one another to persevere and remain steadfast in faith. Whether it's through a church family, a small group, or a circle of faithful friends, community reminds us that we are not walking this journey alone. In times of struggle, they stand beside us in prayer. In moments of joy, they share in our triumphs. Let prayer be your anchor and community your strength, for together they create a foundation that will sustain you through life's storms. In both, God's presence is magnified, guiding you forward with hope and assurance. As you stand at the threshold of a new beginning, take a moment to reflect on where you've been and where God is calling you to go. This moment is an opportunity to release the weight of the past, the disappointments that left you weary, the regrets that linger in your heart, and even the successes that may have made you too comfortable to dream bigger. God is doing something new in your life, a work that is already unfolding, even if it isn't yet visible to you. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God is calling you to shift your focus from what was to what is ahead. The past has played its role. It taught you, refined you, and brought you to this very moment. But it is not where you are meant to stay. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means trusting that God has something even greater in store. His promise is clear. He is making a way where there was none, carving paths in the wilderness and bringing streams of life into the deserts of your soul. Consider the story of Paul, once known as Saul, a man whose past seemed irredeemable. Saul persecuted Christians with zeal, believing he was serving God by destroying the early church. But God had a different plan for him, a purpose so profound that it would transform not only Paul's life, but the history of Christianity. On the road to Damascus, Paul encountered Jesus, and everything changed. He went from being a fierce enemy of the faith to one of its most passionate advocates, spreading the gospel across nations and writing letters that continue to inspire and guide believers today. Paul's transformation reminds us that no one is beyond the reach of God's grace. No matter your past, your mistakes, your failures, or even the labels the world has placed on you, God can and will use you for His glory if you surrender to Him. Just as God worked through Paul, Rahab, and Moses, He is working through you. Rahab, with her unlikely background, became part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. Moses, hesitant and unsure, became the leader who delivered Israel. God's plans often defy human logic, but they are always perfect. You are no different. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. God has uniquely designed you for a purpose only you can fulfill. Embrace this calling with faith, trusting that He will guide your every step. Even when the path feels uncertain, trust that His hand is leading you to something far greater than you can imagine. Let go of the past and step boldly into the new thing God is doing in your life. Finally, hold on to hope. Hope is more than a fleeting feeling. It is the anchor of our souls, a steady and unshakable assurance rooted in the truth of God's promises. Hope reminds us that no matter how stormy life's seas may become, God's word stands firm, and His faithfulness endures. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Even in life's darkest valleys, when fear, grief, or uncertainty threaten to overwhelm you, hope whispers that God is near. He is walking with you, guiding your steps, and preparing a path that leads to something far greater than the pain you now endure. Hope anchors you, holding you steady when everything around you feels unsteady. When you trust in God, He fills your heart with joy and peace that surpass understanding. This doesn't mean life will always be easy, but it means you can walk through trials with confidence, knowing God is in control. He is writing your story, and no matter how difficult the chapter may seem, the ending is one of redemption, victory, and eternal joy. Let us end in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before You with grateful hearts. Thank You for Your faithfulness and Your promises. As we step into this new season, we declare it a time of breakthroughs, miracles, and divine encounters. Guide our steps, open doors, and let Your blessings flow abundantly over our lives. Strengthen us to walk in faith, trusting in Your plan and purpose. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. If this message has touched your heart, declare your faith by commenting Amen below. Subscribe to this channel and join a community of believers committed to walking this journey together. Remember, the best is yet to come. With God by your side, there is nothing too difficult for Him to accomplish in your life. Hold on to hope, trust in His promises, and step boldly into the destiny He has prepared for you. Have you ever taken a quiet moment to reflect on your childhood and wondered why your journey seems so different? Maybe you've faced challenges that others around you appeared to avoid effortlessly. Perhaps you've grown into a responsible adult but still carry those lingering questions. Why did I struggle so much when I was young? Why did I feel so different from everyone else? Was all that hardship just random? Today I want to help you see a truth that can transform how you view your past. Your early experiences were not accidents. Those struggles, gifts, and sensitivities you carried as a child were not coincidences. They were signs. Signs that God was shaping you for a unique purpose before you even understood what purpose meant. The Bible beautifully declares in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This verse is a powerful reminder that God had a plan for your life before your very first breath. Every challenge you faced, every special moment you experienced, and every quirk that set you apart was part of His divine preparation. As we explore the 5 key signs that God was shaping you from childhood, I encourage you to participate. If any of these resonate with your story, take a moment to write a Bible verse or affirmation in the comments. Something like, "God chose me," or "The Lord is my guide." Your words might inspire someone else to recognize their own journey in a new light. Let's dive in. Sign 1. You faced more obstacles. Early in life. Were you that child who seemed to face more challenges than everyone else? Maybe your family life was far from peaceful. You might have grown up in a home filled with arguments, financial struggles, or responsibilities far beyond what a child should bear. While other kids were worrying about toys and games, you were worrying about how to make things work, how to stretch limited resources or mediate conflicts you didn't create. At school, it may have been no different. While some kids seemed to glide through effortlessly, perhaps you struggled with learning difficulties, language barriers, or the instability of constantly changing schools. If this sounds like your story, know this: God knew you could handle more than you thought you could. The Bible reminds us in Romans 5:3-4, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Your early struggles weren't meant to break you. They were designed to build resilience and strength, qualities you would need later in life. Those years were like spiritual boot camp, shaping you into someone who could stand firm when others waver. Take a moment now to reflect. If this sign resonates with you, write a verse or affirmation in the comments. Perhaps, "I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me." By doing so, you're acknowledging that your early struggles were not wasted, but were part of God's plan to prepare you for greater things. Sign 2. You had prophetic or meaningful dreams. Do you remember having vivid, meaningful dreams as a child? Not just random or forgettable ones, but dreams that felt real, almost as if they carried a message. Maybe some of these dreams even predicted events or revealed truths that you didn't fully understand at the time. Perhaps you shared these dreams with a parent, sibling, or friend, only to be met with a shrug or even laughter. Over time, you may have learned to keep them to yourself, dismissing them as strange or irrelevant. Don't disregard those dreams so quickly. In the Bible, God often communicates through dreams. Think of Joseph in Genesis, a young man whose prophetic dreams eventually led to him saving nations. At first, his dreams made no sense to those around him, but in time, they revealed God's incredible plan. If you had dreams that felt deeply significant, it's possible that God gave you a spiritual sensitivity early on. While you may have pushed that sensitivity aside as you grew older, God hasn't forgotten. He may still want to use this gift in your life, whether to guide you, warn you, or help you understand deeper truths. If this resonates with you, comment something like, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." This simple act acknowledges your openness to God's guidance, even if it comes in unexpected forms. Sign 3. Animals and troubled children were drawn to you. Were you the kind of child who seemed to naturally attract those who were hurting? Maybe it was a stray dog or a timid cat that found comfort in your gentle touch when others frightened them. Perhaps it was a classmate going through a tough time who confided in you, sensing you would listen and understand. You may have even noticed adults gravitating toward you, sharing burdens they didn't disclose to others, simply because they felt safe in your presence. You might not have always known what to say or do in those moments. As a child, you didn't have all the answers or solutions. Yet somehow, your presence alone brought peace to chaotic situations. This wasn't by accident. It was evidence of God's light working within you. The Bible reminds us in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." That comforting warmth, that ability to calm the anxious and soothe the broken, was God's gift. It was a sign that He placed a nurturing spirit within you, a reflection of His own heart of compassion. This gift is more important than you may realize. We live in a world filled with turmoil, pain, and loneliness, where people and creatures alike long for comfort and peace. The ability to bring stability, even without words, is a quality the world desperately needs. It's a calling that mirrors Jesus, who often comforted the brokenhearted simply by being present with them. Think about the moments in your childhood when this gift was most evident. Perhaps you had a reputation as the animal whisperer, able to calm skittish creatures no one else could approach. Or maybe you were the friend people turned to when life became overwhelming, trusting you to carry their secrets without judgment. Even if you didn't recognize it at the time, these moments were signs of God's work in you. If this resonates with your story, consider what it means for your life today. That heart of compassion God placed in you as a child hasn't gone away. It's still there, waiting to be used to bring peace and hope to those around you. Perhaps you're called to care for the hurting through acts of service, volunteering at a shelter, mentoring young people, or simply being a listening ear for someone in need. Take a moment to embrace this gift by writing an affirmation like, "Lord, make me a channel of your peace," in the comments. This simple prayer not only acknowledges the nurturing spirit God placed within you, but also opens your heart to His guidance on how to use it. Remember, the ability to bring peace to others isn't just a personality trait, it's a reflection of God's love. When you allow His light to shine through you, you fulfill a divine purpose, touching lives in ways you may never fully understand. Trust that God has been working through you all along, and continue to let that light shine. Sign 4. You were sensitive to truth and hurt by dishonesty. How did you feel as a child when you encountered dishonesty? Maybe it wasn't something directed at you personally, a friend casually breaking a promise, a classmate exaggerating a story, or even an adult telling a so-called harmless lie. While others seemed to shrug it off without a second thought, it might have felt like a sharp sting to you. It wasn't just disappointment, it was deeper, a discomfort that lingered and weighed on your heart. For you, dishonesty wasn't merely wrong, it disrupted something sacred. It may have even made you question why others could so easily bend or ignore the truth. If you were particularly sensitive to lies, even those seen as insignificant, it's not a flaw in your personality or a result of being too serious. Instead, it's a sign that God placed His love for truth deep within you from an early age. The Bible speaks to this in Psalm 51 verse 6, saying, "Surely you desire truth in the inner parts. You teach me wisdom in the inmost place." This verse reminds us that truth isn't just an external standard. It's a condition of the heart. When God created you, He instilled in you a longing for honesty, integrity, and authenticity. Your sensitivity to falsehood reflects God's own character, for He is the embodiment of truth. Consider the life of Jesus, who consistently spoke and lived out truth, even when it was difficult or costly. His example reminds us that living with integrity isn't always easy, but it's essential. As His followers, we are called to uphold truth in a world that often treats it as optional. Your childhood sensitivity to lies could be a reflection of God's preparation for you to be a voice of integrity, standing firm in environments where deceit might otherwise prevail. It's important to recognize that this sensitivity is not a burden, but a gift. It's evidence that God has chosen you to represent His values in a unique way. This doesn't mean you're called to confront every untruth you encounter. Rather, it means you're invited to live a life of honesty that inspires others. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reaffirm your commitment to truth. A simple prayer like, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation," can be a powerful declaration of your desire to align with God's heart. You might also consider how you can model integrity in your daily life, whether in your relationships, work, or personal decisions. Your sensitivity to dishonesty is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's a sign that God has called you to value and uphold truth in a way that mirrors His own nature. Embrace it, and let His truth shine through you. Sign 5. You are known for getting things done. Were you the child who always seemed to be the dependable one? Perhaps your family leaned on you to fix small but persistent problems around the house. Maybe your teachers assigned you responsibilities that seemed more suited to someone older because they trusted you wouldn't let them down. Even among your friends, you might have been the one others turned to in moments of need. Not because you were the loudest or most confident, but because they sensed your reliability and strength. At the time, you might not have thought much of it. You might have chalked it up to just how you are, or even felt the weight of those expectations as unfair. But what if those moments weren't random? What if they were intentional? In reality, God was using those early experiences to shape you into someone capable of handling bigger, more meaningful responsibilities in the future. Luke 16:10 reminds us of an important principle. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Those seemingly small moments of trust, whether taking care of a sibling, organizing a classroom project, or resolving conflicts among your friends, were more than just tasks or chores. They were opportunities for God to build within you the qualities of a leader: reliability, problem-solving, and the ability to bring order to chaos. God often starts His work in us early, crafting us through life's ordinary demands. Think of David, who began as a shepherd boy faithfully watching over his father's sheep. What seemed like an unimportant role was actually preparation for a much greater calling as Israel's king. Similarly, Joseph's years managing household affairs and enduring trials prepared him to lead Egypt through a famine. These early experiences weren't distractions or delays. They were essential training. If this resonates with you, pause and reflect on how those moments of responsibility shaped your character. Did they teach you patience? Did they help you develop resilience? Did they show you the importance of stepping up even when the tasks seemed too big? This isn't just about reflecting on the past. It's about recognizing what God is calling you to do today. If He made you dependable and trustworthy, it's because He has a purpose for those qualities. He might be asking you to step into leadership roles in your community, church, or workplace. He might be calling you to help others in a way that requires the same strength and reliability you displayed as a child. If this sign speaks to you, consider affirming your readiness with the words of Isaiah 6:8. "Here I am, Lord, send me." This simple but powerful declaration shows your willingness to embrace the gifts and training God has invested in you. When you take a step back and look at these signs collectively, you'll see a clear pattern. Number 1, you faced more obstacles than others, building resilience and perseverance. Number 2, you had prophetic dreams, revealing spiritual sensitivity and insight. Number 3, you brought comfort to others, showing a heart of compassion. Number 4, you were sensitive to dishonesty, carrying God's standard of truth. Number 5, you were trusted to lead and solve problems, preparing you for bigger tasks. These are not random traits. They are divine clues that God's hand has been on you all along. So what do you do with this realization? First, acknowledge and thank God. Take a moment to pray something like, "Lord, I see now that you've been shaping me from the start. Thank you for your guidance, even when I didn't understand it. Next, ask God how to use these gifts for His glory today. Whether it's serving your community, leading others, or simply being a source of comfort and truth, know that you are equipped for a purpose. Remember Ephesians 2:10. We are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. You were never ordinary. God has been writing a story with your life, and it began long before you realized it. Now it's time to step confidently into the next chapter. Amen. Today we embark on a journey of profound exploration into a transformation many chosen ones are experiencing in this very moment, the second spiritual awakening. Have you felt an undeniable stirring within your soul recently? A quiet yet persistent sense that a new chapter of consciousness is dawning? This is no ordinary change. It is a divine metamorphosis, a sacred calling to rise to an entirely new level of spiritual evolution. If the first awakening was like opening your spiritual eyes for the very first time, then the second awakening is akin to gaining high-definition clarity. It is as if a black and white world suddenly bursts into vibrant color, unveiling the true nuances and vibrations of reality. This extraordinary transformation allows you to see not just with your eyes, but with your heart and soul. It's a deeper, more profound awakening that elevates your existence beyond what you ever imagined. Let us dive into the essence of this sacred transformation and uncover the signs that indicate you are walking the divine path of the second awakening. While the first awakening marked the beginning of your spiritual journey, a liberation from the illusions of a purely material existence, the second awakening takes this journey to unimaginable heights. During the first awakening, you may have questioned your reality, peeled back the layers of societal conditioning, and recognized the presence of something infinitely greater than yourself. It was a pivotal moment of realization, a gateway to your spiritual essence. However, the second awakening transcends even this. It is not just an awareness, but a complete transformation of how you experience and interact with reality. Every thought becomes a creative force, every emotion a divine tool for growth, and every action an intentional act of manifesting your higher self. It is as if the universe is whispering directly to your soul, guiding you toward the ultimate alignment with your divine purpose. This awakening brings with it a heightened consciousness, a new lens through which you perceive the world. It reveals that everything is connected, that your thoughts, emotions, and actions ripple outward to shape not only your reality, but the collective reality of the world. Let us uncover the sacred signs that indicate your soul is undergoing this profound shift. These signs are not mere coincidences, but divine confirmations that God is working within you, calling you to a higher purpose. Number 1. Perception of vibrational frequencies. The second awakening begins subtly yet profoundly, often with an enhanced sensitivity to the unseen vibrational energies that weave through existence. It feels as though an invisible veil has been lifted, unveiling a deeper reality that was always present, but never fully perceived. You become acutely aware of the energetic currents that surround and flow through you, as if every thought, every intention, is charged with a magnetic frequency capable of shaping the very fabric of your reality. What once seemed fleeting and abstract now feels tangible, resonant, and alive. This heightened awareness transforms your inner world, becoming a compass that steers your choices and relationships. You naturally begin to distance yourself from the people, environments, and activities that drain or clash with your newfound vibration. It's not a conscious rejection, but an organic shift, a quiet, intuitive knowing that these aspects no longer serve your growth. Superficial connections and shallow interactions fade into the background, replaced by the profound magnetism of alignment. In their place, deeper and more meaningful connections emerge, almost effortlessly. These new bonds feel destined, as if they are extensions of your soul's purpose, drawn together by the invisible strings of shared resonance. Every encounter, every interaction, becomes imbued with significance, reflecting the clarity of your inner state. Through this process, you begin to embody a harmonious balance, shedding the energies that no longer belong and embracing those that uplift and expand your spirit. The second awakening is not merely a moment of revelation, it is a journey of becoming, a return to your authentic self, where every vibration and thought flows in harmony with the greater symphony of the universe. In this state, you feel empowered, aligned, and deeply connected to the infinite possibilities of creation. Number 2. Dissolution of the ego. Perhaps the most profound and challenging aspect of the second awakening is the dissolution of the ego. This process is not a gentle unraveling, but often feels like the shattering of an identity you once held dear. The ego, built on the scaffolding of appearances, possessions, achievements, and societal labels, begins to lose its grip as the illusion of its permanence fades. For so long, it defined who you thought you were, shaping your desires, fears, and relationships. But as your awareness deepens, you come to a startling realization. Your true essence lies far beyond the confines of what you own, how you appear, or how others perceive you. This awakening can feel like an existential crisis. The frameworks you once trusted, your beliefs, values, and the structures of the world around you begin to crumble. What seemed solid now feels hollow, leaving you questioning everything. The loss of this false sense of self can be disorienting, even frightening, as it forces you to confront the emptiness left behind. But within this deconstruction lies an unparalleled opportunity for liberation. The ego does not dissolve quietly. It resists fiercely. It manifests as fear, doubt, or a desperate clinging to the old ways of being. You might feel the pull to retreat into familiar patterns, to rebuild the illusion of control. Yet, each step forward, however small, leads you closer to a divine truth that transcends the ego's limitations. It is a journey of surrender, of letting go of the need to define yourself through external means and embracing the infinite light within. With time, the fear gives way to peace, and the doubts dissolve into clarity. What emerges is a profound connection to your authentic self, a version of you that is unbound, limitless, and aligned with the divine essence of the universe. In shedding the ego, you do not lose yourself. You finally come home to who you truly are. Number 3. Awakening to interconnectedness. Another profound hallmark of the second awakening is the realization of the interconnectedness of all things. It is as if a deeper layer of reality is revealed, where you perceive the invisible threads that weave together every being, every action, and every emotion into a grand, unified tapestry. This awareness dissolves the illusion of separateness, showing you that no thought, word, or deed exists in isolation. Suddenly, the barriers between self and other blur, and you feel a deep kinship with all life, a shared essence that flows through everything. This realization inspires profound empathy and compassion. You begin to understand that to serve others is not merely an act of kindness. It is an act of self-love, for in lifting others, you lift yourself. This unity consciousness shifts your focus from individual gain to collective well-being. The old ways of striving for personal success, recognition, or material wealth begin to feel hollow, replaced by a yearning to contribute meaningfully to the greater whole. As this perspective takes root, you may feel an undeniable calling to realign your life. Your career, relationships, and goals come under scrutiny as you seek to ensure they reflect your higher purpose. Choices once guided by ambition or convenience are now infused with intention, aimed at serving the interconnected web of existence. Even the simplest activities, whether preparing a meal, helping a stranger, or tending to the earth, take on a sacred significance, for you begin to see their place in the divine plan. This unity consciousness does not diminish your individuality. Instead, it expands it. You become a unique note in the symphony of creation, harmonizing with the greater whole. In recognizing the oneness of all things, you unlock a deeper, more fulfilling way of living, one where love, purpose, and connection become the foundation of your existence. Number 4. Intense emotional release. The second awakening often brings with it the unlocking of long-repressed emotions, allowing them to rise to the surface in their raw, unfiltered form. These emotions, grief, joy, love, anger, or even fear, can emerge unexpectedly, like powerful waves washing over you. Their intensity may feel overwhelming at first, as if the dam of your heart has burst open. But these emotional releases are not random. They are sacred. They are the soul's way of cleansing itself, purging the old, stagnant energies that have weighed you down for so long. Each release, though challenging, is an act of healing. The grief you feel might be for parts of yourself you've lost along the way, or for dreams you had to let go of. The joy might arise from the rediscovery of your inner light. And the love, the profound, unshakable love, may remind you of your connection to the divine. These emotions are not there to punish or burden you. They are there to liberate you. They create space within your soul, making room for divine light, peace, and clarity to flow freely. As you allow these feelings to surface and move through you, you'll notice a shift within. The heaviness that once clung to you begins to dissipate. You become lighter, freer, and more attuned to the flow of divine energy coursing through your being. This process is not linear, nor is it always easy. Some days will feel like a flood, others like a calm stream. But with each wave that comes and goes, you are stepping closer to wholeness. Through this journey of emotional release, you gain not only healing, but also wisdom. You learn to honor your feelings as sacred messengers, guiding you toward deeper alignment with your true self. In this way, the second awakening transforms you from within, revealing a heart that beats in harmony with the divine. Number 5. A deepened intuition. As the second awakening unfolds, your intuition blossoms into a powerful and reliable guide, a direct line to divine wisdom that feels both profound and natural. What was once dismissed as a vague gut feeling now emerges with striking clarity, a voice of inner knowing that cuts through the noise of doubt and confusion. This intuition is not something new you have learned. Rather, it is an ancient gift you're remembering, a sacred faculty that awakens as you align with your true essence. Each intuitive insight feels like a revelation, as if a veil has been lifted to reveal a hidden truth. These moments of clarity illuminate your path with an unmistakable certainty, steering you toward choices and opportunities that resonate with your higher purpose. Whether it's a gentle nudge to follow an unexpected direction, a sudden understanding of a complex situation, or an unshakable sense of what is right for you, this guidance feels deeply rooted in wisdom beyond the limits of the mind. What sets this intuition apart is the trust it evokes. You come to rely on it not as a fleeting feeling, but as the voice of the divine within you. It bypasses logic and reason, speaking directly to your soul in a language that is unmistakable and undeniable. With each step forward, your faith in this guidance deepens. You find yourself making decisions with ease and confidence, knowing they are aligned with your highest good. This reconnection to your intuition transforms your perspective on life. Challenges no longer feel like random obstacles but opportunities for growth revealed through inner wisdom. The chaos of uncertainty is replaced by a sense of flow and alignment. As you embrace this sacred gift, you realize that the answers you seek have always been within you, waiting for this moment of awakening to be heard. The journey of the second awakening is as transformative as it is challenging. It is not a smooth or linear path, but one that requires courage, resilience, and unwavering faith. The ego, fearing its dissolution, clings tightly to its familiar ways. Old patterns and limiting beliefs, deeply ingrained in your psyche, may resurface with renewed intensity. Moments of doubt and confusion may arise, making you question whether you are truly progressing. Yet, these trials are not obstacles to deter you. They are sacred opportunities for growth, placed on your path to refine and elevate your soul. Every challenge you face holds a profound purpose. When you confront fear and choose love instead, you transcend the limitations of the ego. When you release the weight of the past, be it regrets, pain, or attachments, you make space for divine light to enter. And when you step into the unknown with faith and trust, you open the door to possibilities far beyond what you could have imagined. Each step, no matter how small, carries you closer to your authentic self and raises your consciousness to new heights. The rewards of this journey are boundless and deeply fulfilling. You will discover a profound inner peace, one that is unshaken by external circumstances. This peace becomes the foundation of your life, radiating outward in waves of love, compassion, and purpose. Your transformation will inspire others, encouraging them to embark on their own spiritual journeys, not through words, but by the example of your being. Most importantly, this journey leads you to reconnect with your divine essence, the eternal truth of who you are. You come to realize that you are not your fears, your achievements, or your failures. You are a limitless soul, a spark of the divine, here to shine your light and fulfill your sacred purpose. This is the ultimate gift of the second awakening, a homecoming to your truest self. The second awakening is not the culmination of your spiritual journey, but rather the commencement of a profound new chapter. It serves as a sacred invitation to live as a radiant beacon of light in the world, embodying the boundless love and infinite wisdom of the divine in every moment of your existence. As you walk this enlightened path, you will come to realize that your very presence has the power to transform the lives of those around you. Your energy becomes a catalyst for positive change, inspiring others to seek their own inner light. Remember, this journey is uniquely yours. There is no singular path to the second awakening. It unfolds organically, guided by the rhythm of your soul and the whispers of the universe. Each individual's experience is a personal tapestry woven from their own insights, challenges, and revelations. Trust the process wholeheartedly, embracing the transformations that arise with an open heart and mind. Know that you are being divinely supported every step of the way, even when the path ahead seems unclear. As you delve deeper into this new chapter, you will find that your connection to the divine strengthens. Your intuition sharpens, your compassion deepens, and your understanding of the interconnectedness of all things becomes more profound. Activities that once seemed ordinary take on new meaning as you perceive their role in the grand tapestry of existence. Your life becomes a living expression of divine love and wisdom, touching others in ways you may never fully realize. Embrace this journey with courage and grace, for it is a path of continuous growth and endless possibilities. Trust in the divine timing of your awakening, and allow yourself to flow with the natural currents of your soul's evolution. You are not alone. The universe conspires with you, offering guidance, synchronicities, and signs to illuminate your way. By embracing the changes and trusting in the divine support that surrounds you, you align yourself with your highest purpose and unlock the limitless potential within. If these signs resonate with you, it is a sacred confirmation that you are being called to fulfill a greater mission. This is your moment to step into your power and embrace the divine purpose that awaits you. Declare your readiness for the second awakening by affirming, "I am ready to awaken to my highest self." Let this declaration be the first step in a journey of limitless love, radiant light, and a profound connection to the divine. As you embrace this transformation, may your light shine brightly for the world, inspiring and illuminating the path for others to follow. You are a chosen one, uniquely equipped to bring hope, healing, and compassion to a world that deeply needs it. The world is waiting for your radiance, now more than ever. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this sacred journey. Your presence here means everything, and we are honored to be part of your awakening. If this message has inspired or uplifted you, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and become part of a community dedicated to spreading love and light. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss the next steps of this beautiful journey.